Alright, hello everyone, and welcome back to Guildgates and Goblins. We're back for Campaign 2, which is going to see us taking on the legendary adventure Curse of Strahd, set in dark Barovia, which I'm very excited about. Yeah, my name's Merchant. I imagine there'll be a lot of people who are new to the show coming into this, as it is our episode 1. We do have a previous campaign, but this is a brand new adventure featuring new characters, same cast, and it's going to be live every week at 10 p.m. Saturday GMT on this channel, twitch.tv/merchant, and then it goes up on my YouTube the day afterwards. So if you're watching this on YouTube, it'll be out every Sunday. If you're watching this live on Twitch, it'll be every Saturday. However, to introduce the campaign properly and the players, I'm going to hand you over to our, I was going to say wonderful, our okay DM, Craig.
Craig. Slightly average dungeon master. Okay. Yes, everyone. Hello and welcome to campaign 2. Yeah, pretty excited to get this one going. But before we do, yes, just some introductions. So, for those of you who may not have watched campaign 1 or just want a refresher, my name is Craig. You might have seen me hovering around Merchant's channel if you're a fan of that, just on Dark Souls or the odd video occasionally. But yeah, and I DM'd the last campaign. Hopefully, you'll come to know me a bit better as the campaign goes on. So, Connor, why don't you introduce yourself, if you'd like to?
Oh, all right.
Just tell people who you are.
My name's Connor, or Merchant. I'm a Magic the Gathering YouTuber. You're probably on my channel if you're watching this. But, yeah, I typically play Magic the Gathering, and I'm a big D&D fan as well, so we run this show. And, yeah, other than that, I don't know. I have no distinguishing features other than a YouTube channel.
All right, nice. Okay. Alias, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello everyone, I'm Alias. I like magic. I like cards, cats, and derping efficiently. So I'm a Magic the Gathering arena streamer, live during the week from 6 a.m. Eastern because I'm a crazy person and wake up at 5. Woo! Also do the YouTube thing, so if you want to go and catch my not so terrible games, then you'll find it there. Other than that, that's me.
All right, lovely. Loren, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Always Turtle. You can find me at twitch.tv/alwaysturtle. I haven't been streaming as much or doing much content, been a little busy, but hopefully with my new schedule, I'll be back on there. But you can find me on all that stuff, and I'm excited to play some more D&D, so yay.
Cool, good stuff. John, why don't you tell us who you are?
Hi, I'm John, also known as VMG. I don't stream, but sometimes I'm in the background of Always Turtle's streams or videos. Just depends on if I'm in the area. But yeah, I just play D&D because I love it.
Fair enough. If you're creeping on by, you'll just make a cameo.
Usually when she makes cookies, I'm right there.
Nice. All right, Lookin.
Priorities.
Lookin, why don't you go next?
I'm Lookin or Harrison. I don't stream or do any casting or anything like that anymore. Kind of just live off former glories and play D&D with these guys. So
glories.
Wow.
Yeah, lovely stuff. And finally, Justin, why don't you tell us who you are?
Hello, I am Justin, also known as Theoric6. Don't know why I made my name so difficult, but I am a psychology grad student who also makes a Magic the Gathering arena content over on my channel, youtube.com/Theoric6. Yeah, stop by and say hi. I don't know.
Yeah, or you know, just don't say hi. Just stop in
and if you're still watching at this point, well done. Thanks.
Best intros ever.
Yes, everyone's a bit too excited. I think they want to stop this.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah. Also, another thank you as well to Biko, who is always in the background working on all our D&D stuff. The lovely graphic around our faces was made by him. Any sort of tokens and art.
He's also okay.
Yeah, he's an alright guy.
He's okay.
He's a real lad.
He's a solid 6 out of 10 graphics guy. Real stable hand.
7 if you're drunk.
So yeah, this is Curse of Strahd, a campaign set in Barovia. So there's a lot of history and legacy to this campaign. It's been around for a while and it's been refined over generations, and some regard it as potentially the best module to run in D&D. So we'll see how that plays out. But I have never played in it or run it before, so it's the first time for me and first time for all the cast as well. I have made some changes to little bits and pieces to suit what I would like. So maybe if the things that you would like in the campaign aren't there, don't stress about it. It's just my thoughts and the things I would like to include. Also, another warning. This is a stern warning. Please avoid any spoilers in the chat, or else Just don't try your best to not mention, oh, I can't wait till I get to this part. And I know there's a lot of iconic things in Curse of Strahd that you can't wait to see how they play out, but try and hold fire on those comments. Or if you do wish to discuss it, save it for our Reddit, which is just Guildgates, I believe, where you can bring that sort of thing up. So yeah, I believe that's everything. All the introductions are done, and we are ready to begin. So, are all of you ready?
Yes.
Actually, Craig, I think I need to use the restroom real quick.
Would anyone like a 10-minute break right now? All right, okay. Here we go.
I would like to cast Mage Armor, please.
It immediately fails. Okay. Deep within a land long forsaken, in a castle long avoided, within a chamber long hidden, stands a creature long feared. The room we are in is simple, almost Spartan. The walls, floors, and ceilings are made of worked stone, but no hangings or tapestries or paintings adorn them. No furniture or chairs are laid out for guests. There's merely a door, a window, and a single shaft of light from the window illuminating a curved stone basin atop a single stone column. And within that basin is a still pool of clear water. A figure stands above this basin, their pale hands grasping the edges, but in the darkness, all that is illuminated off them is the lower half of the face, of which we can see a grin affixed to. With a movement of their hand through the still water, ripples spread out. The water becomes dark and murky, and within the pool, 5 moving images begin to appear. In the first image, we see a city bathed in moonlight. The image pans across several rooftops and streets before coming to rest, facing a large, square, straight-shaped 2-story building with a flat roof. Our attention is drawn to a side door of that structure, where we can see a small gathering of people talking in hushed, excited tones. On the opposite side of the street, we see a dark carriage with a team of horses hitched to it and a lanky, well-dressed figure standing alongside. Suddenly, the side door of the structure is thrown open and the gathered crowd goes immediately quiet, turning to a figure as they step through the doorway, arms raised at their side and a smile lighting up their face. And John, if you would like to describe your character for me, please.
Sure. Layson Pelta is a fairly tall half-elf. He has dark black hair, and his hair is tight, well kept, kind of up and styled to keep it out of his face. On his face, however, you can definitely notice a nice twirly mustache and very pointed goatee. Layson's a slim but not dainty. He's wearing beautifully crafted, a multicolored tunic with very dark green trousers. He wears an oval locket around his neck, which he proudly hangs. When Layson isn't inside the cities, he wears a suit of leather armor slung on his back, a crossbow with a small pouch of bolts on his belt, and a lyre at his hip.
Nice. Okay, Layson, you have just finished giving what you believe to be the show of your lifetime at the Knights Theatre. And now, stepping forth from the doorway, you can see a crowd of people smiling and looking expectantly towards you. What would you like to do?
I'd like to bask in it. I'd like to walk in, kind of ask them if they had any questions, see how they thought, the show went, tell them about my opinions of the show, really, bathe in it if I can.
Sure. You bathe in the awe of the crowd, and you move amongst them, you greet them, you thank them for coming and offer advice and kind words, and you wish them well. And eventually the crowd, satisfied that they've met you, are happy to part, and they begin to move away and head off into the night. And you can see just opposite you now a carriage that you recognize with a figure standing alongside it.
Before I make my way to the carriage, I'll turn around and just kind of take one deep breath and really enjoy the moment before heading towards the carriage.
Okay. So you look back and you breathe a sigh of satisfaction and contentment, and you really savor the moment before moving to the carriage and towards the gentleman standing alongside it. And you obviously recognize this person as Williams, your hired driver who you have known for a long time, and he's ferried you far and wide to numerous shows and performances across the land. So William stands tall and straight for his age. He's got a proud look on his face, and he has thinning white hair across his head, and a pair of round spectacles cover his eyes. He's quite smartly dressed. He has kind of a vest on, kind of a dark silky material that shimmers, as well as a pair of well-fitted trousers and shining leather boots. But one thing that does you always notice is the pocket square in the coat of it, or the pocket of his vest, that shines with the same multicolored look as your shirt.
I'd like to greet him, say, Williams, have you had a good night?
Ah, Master Layson, yes, fine night, yes, and yourself?
The best night I've had in forever.
Oh, well, I am so glad to hear that, Master Layson. I'm so pleased to hear you enjoyed yourself. So, what's next for you?
It's time to go home. Is my carriage packed with my instruments and belongings?
Yes, ready and waiting, Master. Ready and waiting, yes. I'm sure you're eager to return home, so why don't we travel through the night, and we should hopefully be back in Gratia by the morning.
I agree. Let's make haste.
Very well, then. So yeah, you take your get into the carriage and...
Yes.
Okay, sure. So Williams climbs into the driver's seat of the carriage, and you mount up in the back cabin, and with a crack of whips, the carriage begins to make its way out of the city, and you sit back and relax and breathe a sigh of contentment at a job well done, and you admire the passing lights and structures before you eventually leave the walls of the city and hit the country roads, heading home for Gratia. And after a relatively uneventful period of time, and after the lights of the city have long faded behind you, you notice there's a low mist across the field and the countryside around you, obscuring your vision as it slowly thickens around, and gradually you begin to notice that the carriage seems to be coming to a stop. It's slowing down.
I want to stand up and kind of try to peer at the window just and yell out to Williams, "Is everything okay?"
Okay, so as you lean out and call out to Williams, there's no answer. And you begin to notice the fog and the mist around you begins to get thicker and thicker, and the carriage gradually slows down until it seemingly comes to a full stop.
I call it again and open the door, try to peer around to see if he's there, and if I don't see him, head to the back of the carriage to grab my armor and crossbow and the rest of my belongings just in case.
Okay, sure. You step out of the carriage and look towards the driver's seat, and no, Williams is not there. The team of horses is still affixed to the carriage, but there's no sign of him. So you move around the back of the carriage and don your armor and grab your weapons. And what would you like to do now? This wall... there's not a dog around, but this wall of fog begins to thicken and blanket all around you. You can barely see a few meters in front of you.
I want to check the side of the road, yell out to Williams, I'm trying to find him. Where did he go?
Sure. So are you moving off the road? Yeah?
Yes, gonna check the sides and work my way.
Okay, so
around.
I will say if you move off the road here, you will be pushing into the wall of fog, and it's quite obscuring your vision, I would say.
No problem. I gotta find my driver. I can't make it home this way.
Sure. Okay. So you begin to move off and call out into the wall of fog, and all of a sudden, yes, you call out to him, before suddenly deep chill courses through your body, and you almost feel like you lock up, and that's where we'll leave you for the time being. The next image that we see in this pool of water is that of a small log cabin residing deep in a forest. It appears to be late in the day. The sun is setting, and the shadows in the forest and around the cabin have grown long, and a low mist covers the ground. The structure is square in shape, and a small chimney has been built into the roof with a wisp of smoke drifting out. The cabin is both a front and back porch, and we can see behind the cabin, where the forest has been cleared away, several hay bales have been set out at varying distances with crudely drawn targets on them. A figure stands with bow in hand, aiming, drawing, and firing arrows out towards the targets. Lookin, if you would like to describe your character, please.
Of course. Aramel Duval is rather tall, with weathered white skin. He has short auburn hair that's slicked back out of his eyes with sharp green eyes. He's clean-shaven and relatively well-built, in good shape by necessity as a man of the land. Aramel has a bow over his shoulder that's in his hand at the moment, with a quiver at his hip, 24 arrows carefully counted and managed. A large, well-kept two-handed sword leans against the porch next to his green mottled cloak that he's cast to the side while he target practices. And lastly, Aramel has a simple leather vest on his chest and high brown boots.
Okay, so Aramel, you've been shooting at these targets for most of the afternoon now, honing your abilities and your skill and making sure you're not rusty. But after an extended period of target practice, you notice your quiver is empty. What would you like to do?
I'll go ahead and sling my bow over my shoulder. I'll pick up the sword and the cloak and go ahead and put the sword and its sheath back on my back, redon my cloak, and I'd like to go pick up my arrows from the targets.
Sure. So as you move forward and begin to retrieve your arrows, you notice this low mist that's along the ground begins to thicken and reduce the visibility within the forest itself. And you can hear from the opposite side of your cabin the sound of a dog barking. The barking you recognize of your own dog, Bruno.
I'll go ahead and call out, Bruno.
Okay, so yeah, you call out a few times, but the barking just continues and continues. He sounds quite incessant.
I'll look around, kind of back behind me into the woods. Do I see anything?
Make a perception check, I guess.
First roll.
First roll.
First roll. Natural one.
Okay. That would be a 19.
19. So looking around, you take a good look into the forest, but it's really hard to see anything other than just a thick wall of fog that seems to be coalescing and forming around the small little valley your cabin is in.
All right. I'll go ahead and you said Bruno sounded like he was coming from the front of the cabin, right?
Yeah, the opposite side of the building where you are.
I'll go ahead and I'll jog around to the front at a decent pace, and I'll go ahead and keep calling out, Bruno.
Okay. So as you call and dash around to the front of the cabin, you notice this wall of mist is still getting thicker and thicker, and it's almost a sinister feeling coming from it. But as you round the corner, you see Bruno there, your faithful golden retriever with his long, shaggy blonde hair, turn back to you as you round the corner and bark towards you before turning back to the fog and barking several more times himself before he dashes suddenly into the fog. What would you like to do?
I will look around, and seeing that Bruno isn't around, I will go ahead and draw my sword, and I will go ahead and jog into the fog and just keep calling out, Bruno, come back.
So as you are moving into the fog and calling out, again, you also feel this chill run through your body, and you feel this paralyzing shock come over you, and return to you in a moment. The next image we see in this basin of water is the inside of a room. The walls and floors are made up of cut stone, and all manner of vials and beakers and other bubbling alchemical equipment cover a number of tables, shelves, and other furniture. One very low table takes up one side of the chamber, and with an even smaller chair tucked underneath.
Wow.
The top of this table the top of the table is stacked high with books, ledgers, scrolls, scraps of paper, and notes covered in drawings, runic symbols. A large bookcase is in one corner of the chamber. There are quite a few curious-looking artifacts, relics, and items in glass display cases around this, what we can assume is to be some sort of lab. Two tall, thin windows cover one wall and let in some daylight, and a candelabra hangs from the roof with a few candles lit inside it, giving off a faint glow. The main items of interest, however, are two metal pylons, which are seemingly embedded into the floor of the room. Numerous gems are encased into the top of the poles, and arcane runes are carved into the shafts. We can see two people are in this room. One of them appears to be fiddling and fussing over the top of the pylons, and Connor, you'd like to describe your character.
Sure. Godfrey Goldspark is a gnome who stands at a thoroughly gnomish about 3'10". He's quite a small figure, but he wears a dark grey robe, quite simple, quite plain, not ornate or anything. It looks more practical with a silver lining on it, and his face is actually, compared to a lot of the sort of like mages you might imagine, he has quite a weathered and quite like outdoorsy face. You can see that he's clearly endured some hard times, and his hair's sort of dark grey, brushed back, and he keeps his beard cut very short, but he has a sort of determined look about him. There's a lot of energy about him, and he seems to be rather hectically working on these metal pylons.
Okay. The second figure that we can see is standing quite a bit further behind, their back pressed up against the wall. And Loren, if you would like to describe your character, please.
In the back of the room, you see this large, muscular half-orc female. She has a very athletic build. Her skin is kind of like a light gray blue kind of mix. She's got gold eyes, black, like long dreadlocked hair, and kind of a ponytail with the sides shaven. She's wearing a mixture of cloth, armor, and leathers that look kind of homemade, kind of put together, kind of ramshackle. She's got a wolf pelt across her back, kind of like a half cloak with a wolf necklace with wolf teeth on it. She's got a big old great axe on her back that also looks kind of homemade, and then she also has a hunting bow as well. And yeah, that's her just chilling in the back of the room.
All right. So yeah, Godfrey, you've been working on this device, shall we call it, for some time now, and you believe the fruits of your labor are about to come together here. So what would you like to do?
I'm going to turn to Lokai and say,
all right, Lokai, we've been working away at this for months. We're nearly ready. I just need to calibrate the last pylon.
Whatever that means, go ahead.
Oh, I know you're excited. Don't worry.
I'm absolutely thrilled for you.
Just, be ready to, deal with anything that comes through. There might be a little more this time. I think this one's gonna be a little bit more powerful.
More than last time?
Yeah, I mean, come on, they were like bright pink. The demons were no trouble at all. They were fine. This time hopefully we're gonna get to go through to the other side.
I couldn't be more thrilled. Let's just get this over with.
I know you're excited.
all right, yeah, I'll stand back and kind of, with a nod at Lokai, just flick the spark towards the pylons that starts everything going.
Okay, sure. So you flick the switch, and a deep hum echoes throughout the lab, and you can see arcane energy begin to arc along the pylons and spark off and bounce off various metallic objects out the lab, and seems to be charging up, and it's looking very promising. Nothing untoward has come through the portal yet, and right at the moment when you think the portal's about to fully form and tear open a hole into another realm, it suddenly collapses, and with a gust of wind blowing throughout the lab, the candles are extinguished and stacks of books are knocked over and notes begin to bustle and blow around.
God damn it, Lokai, I knew you shook up those crates too much. You must have broke something.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm the one that's to blame for this one.
You sound just like the headmaster.
I'm gonna go and
Well,
have
hurry
a
up and
rummage.
get this fixed.
Okay. Godfrey, as you begin to move towards the portal, suddenly a dull thud echoing out from it. And the portal seemingly comes back online, and arcane energy begins to spark off it before it's seemingly covered by this large bank of fog, which slowly forms into a thick disc between the pylons and now is rapidly spilling out and filling into the room. And this is not the expected outcome of this, I will say.
Godfrey, what did you do?
I hope I didn't calibrate it too high. It looks like we might be inside a cloud.
Suddenly, with a loud clap, the portal begins to seemingly pour in with a vacuum of air, and all the furniture and notes and books and vials suddenly are drawn in towards the portal. And the two of you feel yourselves pulled up and dragged. Godfrey, I don't think there's even a check. You're a gnome. Like, you are just... but look, if you want to make us, let's say a strength saving throw to try and just grab onto something.
As I go flying into it, I'm just gonna go, it's not a cloud!
Oh, at unnatural 20.
Unnatural
Ooh.
20. isn't enough for this, I'm afraid. Is you grab onto a piece of furniture and try and plant your feet down, and before it begins to slowly pull up, and you find yourself dragged up, and legs first, you are suddenly also sucked into this portal. And with that and a clap, the portal closes, and the two of you are dragged into somewhere. We'll come back to that.
Well, it worked.
Boopy.
Yes. Inside the next image, within this basin of water, we see a small wooded valley and a simple-looking wooded house within it. Within the house, the windows appear to be boarded up, and the structure appears to be in poor repair. Roof tiles have fallen off or been blown away. The edges of the roof and the walls of the structure look to be in sagging and poor repair. It is night, but a full moon illuminates the valley floor, and a thin mist blankets the ground, giving everything a pale, ethereal appearance.
I feel like there's a recurring theme here.
Is there? I haven't noticed. On the lip of the valley, staring down towards the building, we see a figure. And Justin, if you'd like to describe your character.
Of course. So, Nerolos Gressa is a semi-tall man, medium build, just shy of 30. He has a thick beard that is not unkempt, but it's not exactly stylish. His hair is a mop of walnut as well, and he has white but sun-kissed skin. He has a stone glare. His eyes are brown with nice steel touches on the inside. He's wearing fitted leather armor with not much pleasantries besides kind of stylish pauldrons. In his hand, he holds a longbow, quite large, and on his back, he has a large rucksack that contains the quivers for both the longbow as well as storage for arrows, for little bolts that are for his crossbow that's affixed to the edge. On his left hip, he holds a hand-and-a-half sword, and on his right hip, he has a rather large buckler.
Okay. Nerolos, you have come to this place on the trail of a vicious killer called Rob Thinley. He's been nicknamed Linger on account of his method of staying in a settlement or town for a while, blending in with the local people, before carrying out a string of attacks and murders in a single night, and then leaving suddenly. You believe he has blended into a nearby settlement, and you've tracked him to this house on the outskirts, where you hope to finally bring him to justice. So, what would you like to do?
Well, I would like to look for any disturbances in the area nearby this house and see if anyone has been through here recently.
Sure, make a perception check for me.
Alrighty. That would be an 11.
Okay. Taking a good look around, it's hard to notice any maybe tracks or areas where the ground's been trod on. It is dark despite the moonlight. It's hard to make out any exact details, I would say.
Okay. I suppose so. I'm looking down into the valley.
You're essentially on like the lip of a valley. It's not like a big, tall, steep valley,
Right.
but it's a small valley looking down in towards this structure.
I would have out my bow, and in my right hand I would be holding an arrow, and I would proceed forward towards the domicile.
Okay, sure. So you begin to approach the structure, and as you begin to move through the grasses, make kind of a swishing noise as you do, you begin to see hanging from the branches of the trees around you are several small carvings or sculptures that seem to be made of wood. They have the appearance of dream catchers, but they're made up of much more harsher angles, more triangular than circular. Seem to give off a sinister air. And as you get closer and closer, you can see trunks of the trees around you are carved with all manner of swirling and geometric patterns. The whole thing is just a sense of, I don't know, evil, I guess, is the best way to describe it. But eventually sorry, what would you like to do?
Do I recognize these symbols from any of the murder scenes?
Make a... In fact, you know what? No, you wouldn't need to make a check. You're pretty astute at recognizing. So yes, I would say the images that are carved within the barks of the tree are very, very familiar in the images that were carved into the bodies that the murderer left. and gradually you close on the front of the structure where you can see there is a door.
And it doesn't look as if any light is on the inside?
No, it's the windows are boarded up, but even between those, there's no torchlight or firelight illuminating between the gaps.
Okay. I would like to stealthily walk up to the front door and give it a little nudge and see if it can open.
Okay, if you want to make a stealth check from here.
Sure. I got nat 1.
Nat 1.
First one of the campaign.
And it begins.
Okay. Just as Nero, sorry, as you're getting closer, you trip over kind of a small rock hidden in the tall grass, and you seem to clatter down and make a bit of noise before you stand up and begin to approach the door as quietly as you can now. And as you reach for the doorknob and try to turn it, it seems to be locked.
How old does this door look?
Very old. If you think that a swift kick may open the door, I would say that's a very good guess, and it might just do that.
Instead of that, I'm going to put my
Okay.
arrow back in the quiver, put my bow around my shoulder, and pull out my hand and half sword. And I'm essentially going to try and use it as like a crowbar thing.
Okay. Yeah, I would say no checks required for this. It's a rotted old door. You essentially jam it into the frame, and with a sharp tug, there's this crack of wood splintering, and the door opens, revealing a room that seems to take up all of the structure. The inside is poorly lit, and the only source of light seems to be coming from holes in the ceiling where shafts of moonlight shine in and a damp, musty smell wafts out. The structure appears to be just a single room, as I said, and there are some cabinets and shelves in one corner, a small table with some rickety-looking chairs in one other corner, and there's a mattress splayed across a warped bed frame. Across one wall and hanging on metal chains which quietly jingle are several sharp-looking blades and hooks. An unlit fireplace takes up the opposite wall, and there's a small iron pot on a tripod above the fire. There appears to be something large affixed to the wall above the fireplace, but you can't quite make it out in the darkness.
I would like to cast Prestidigitation to light up that fireplace.
Sure. Okay. So as you with a flicker of your hand, you essentially ignite the fire. The wood's kind of dark, so it takes a few bursts before it gets going. And illuminating above the fireplace is this very large bleached deer skull with these long pointed antlers curving around it. There seems to be certain things affixed to it and hanging off it, but you're sort of at the entrance still, and you probably have to get a bit closer if you want to take a good look at it.
So, since this is a single room, I can tell that at present no one is in there but me.
Yeah, that seemingly there's no one else in the room.
Okay. I would like to reclose the door, essentially just pushing it closed, so I would be notified somewhat, unless someone was being sneaky.
Sure.
Then I would like to investigate this room and see if I can tell when the last time someone was here.
Okay, if you want to make an investigation check for me.
Jeez, why am I rolling so poorly?
There always has to be one.
5.
Yeah.
A 5, was that? Okay. So, taking a poke through the room and looking at the furniture, looking for any boot prints, things like that. You can't really see anything, but as you're looking around, your eyes are seemingly drawn to the antlers and the bleached deer skull. And as you're kind of moving around and getting closer to it, you can see that the long pointed antlers that are curved around the head, they seemingly have had their tips carved into very sharp, wicked points. There seems to also be carvings along the antlers, and again, it seems to be reminiscent of these swirling and unsettling images you saw outside and on the bodies you've come across. And as well as that, there seems to be garlands of leaves hanging off them. Atop the head of the skull, there's a crown of thorns that has been made, and you can see carved into the forehead as well is the image of an eye. And as you stare into that eye, you almost get the sense that something is watching you. And as you turn around and move away from that, you can see that through the holes in the ceiling and around the cracks of the door frame and between the boards and the window. Rolling mist is suddenly pouring into the room and slowly edging closer to you and surrounding you. Is there anything you'd like to do?
I would like to use prestidigitation and constantly use it to try and puff of wind, get this fog out of my face.
Okay. So essentially, as much as you can, you just try and create gusts of air to blow it away, and it does occasionally get pushed back before it's just slowly and rapidly closing around you. And as it begins to cover your form and your arms and your legs, you feel this chill coursing through your body, and as it surrounds you and covers your eyes, that's where we'll leave you. And in the final image of this stone basin, we can see a gathering of wooden structures nestled deep within and built amongst the forest. There are a number of small dwellings and a pair of long one-story buildings, as well as a tall wooden guard tower, which breaks above the canopy of the forest. The largest and most ornate-looking building though in this community, and the one that draws our attention, is a squat but well-built looking wooden chapel. The structure is relatively short, with a small bell tower constructed at one end and a pair of open double doors at the other. Alongside the doors is a single tall window, and carved above the entrance into the wood is the symbol of an upraised gauntlet. Just outside the entrance to the chapel, we can see a gathering of individuals in armor, sporting a number of weapons, as well as lit torches in their hands, casting a warm glow over them. The inside of the chapel is fairly unadorned and simple, but well-made pews line the sides of the floor, and a path between them leads up to a large, solid-looking altar with a long, low bank of candles alight across it. A number of metal holders are also built into the walls of the chapel, which give off a faint glow, but the inside is quite poorly lit. The main item that kind of draws our attention within the chapel is this large metal plate with various swirling and twisting shapes carved into the metal, as well as the image again of this same upraised gauntleted hand, which seems to be raised off the metal itself when it was being worked. We can see two figures within the chapel, one of which has just entered the front, and we can see he is an older-looking human man, mid to late 50s. He has a thick beard and medium-length blonde hair, which is kind of being brushed back from his head. He's wearing a metal breastplate and a suit of chainmail beneath that. A shield is slung across his back, and a sword is sheathed at his side. The other figure, leaning over the altar, lighting a candle. Alias, if you would like to describe that figure for me.
All right. Rosalyn Grey is a young, athletic woman with long auburn hair, almost crimson in the nighttime. She's got piercing blue-gray eyes, and she suffers from resting bitch face, which often detracts from her natural beauty. On the skin that you can see, she's got superficial scars from various blades and battles. You can see she's been through a few fights of her own. She's wearing crimson armor, with chainmail underneath it, and it's not clear whether the steel's natural coloring is red or if she just hasn't bothered to clean it. The detailing on her armor is ornate, and it's designed in such a way that her movement isn't hindered at all. Her shield covers most of her back, and it bears the symbol of the upright gauntlet as well. Crimson material accents adorn her armor, so it's like this flowing material, and during her battles, you can imagine it swirls with majestic grace, depending on how she rolls, I guess.
Okay.
Her hair is plaited loosely behind her back, and she's saying a prayer in front of the shield.
Okay, so Rosalyn, as you begin to finish lighting your candle, you turn around at the sound of a low voice calling out to you, and you look around and you recognize Matthias, the elder of the order here and your mentor for a long time. And he says to you, "The hour grows late, Ros. Are you almost ready?"
Almost, Matthias. Give me a moment. I'll meet you outside.
Very well. We'll be ready when you are. He turns back away from you and begins to move outside, and he closes the door behind himself. And you're left alone within the chapel. What would you like to do?
All right, so I'm going to finish off my prayer. It's a low one. I'm saying it to myself, and it doesn't seem to be in English. So my eyes are closed.
Okay, so before you finish that prayer, A wind suddenly begins to pick up and blows through the one window within the chapel, and the candles across the altar and along the walls flicker and gutter, and the sound of wax begins to sound out as it splatters across the ground and seems to cut your prayer short a bit as it disturbs you.
How rude. I will stop saying my prayer.
Okay.
And I will listen.
Okay. So yeah, sure. Okay, so you stop your prayer and listen out, and you don't really hear anything else other than the kind of low moaning of the wind, but through the small window at the door, there's suddenly a bank of fog rolling in.
Plot twist.
All right.
Bloody fog banks.
I'm going to take a look around me. I obviously will see this fog, I'm guessing.
Yes, it's coming in through the window and going around the edges of the room, arcing its way towards you. But there's still a path clear towards the door.
All right. I'm going to pick up my stuff, grab my shield and sword, and walk cautiously towards the door.
Okay. So you walk cautiously, and you can still see more of this fog is pouring into the room and arcing up along the sides of the walls, and you reach for the door and pull it open, and as you do, it is just a sheer wall of fog in front of you.
Great.
It begins to slowly push into the room.
Yeah, I am going to call out to Matthias.
Okay.
And see if he's around. Matthias!
So you call out, no answer.
Shit. I will attempt to call out again, louder this time. I'm going to also ready my shield and sword, just in case.
Okay, sure. So you call out again and you raise your sword and shield, and slowly this fog begins to pour out towards you and begins to creep up your legs and across you and slowly covers you, and as it does, you also... Sorry, did you want to do something there?
Oh, I was just going to try and run.
Okay. It's just a bank of fog pretty much all around you now, so if you run, you are running straight into the fog. But sure, you run straight into the fog.
Cool.
And you feel again this chill coursing through your body, and we'll return to you in just a moment. But as we pull back from the images in the basin and return to the figure standing above it, we can see the grin on their face has turned to a wide, hungering smile, exposing teeth, two of which we can see are long, sharp fangs. For each of you, as you pass or are pulled into this fog, a powerful chill overcomes you. A deep cold reverberates through your bodies, and you feel air whipping past your faces and through your hair. The sensation of falling overcomes you as any ground you were standing on seemingly falls out beneath you, and you let out screams and yells into the pale light that surrounds you, when suddenly, with a dull clap, the light around you disappears, and you all find yourselves rapidly falling towards grass-covered ground, and with a thump, you all come crashing into the muddy ground. And looking around, you can each see 5 other figures who appear to have also come falling into the grass alongside you.
I have my weapon out ready to
Yeah.
do 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Same. I'm going to get up straight away and just be like, what?
Yep, same. Fanned out.
Okay. So yeah, sure, all of you, or at least most of you, stand up and draw weapons, and you can see there's other figures standing around you with weapons suddenly drawn amongst them, looking out guardedly towards each other.
I pick up Godfrey off the floor and like pick him back up on his legs.
I could clap her on the leg and be like, "Ha-ha, we did it! It worked!" Wait.
Are you...
What is this?
These people weren't in the room.
Who are you?
Oh, well, now they're blaming me.
What did you do? Where am I?
Well, that's a very good question. Give me half an hour. I'll try to have an answer to it.
I'm just gonna look around and check everyone out. Like, what the?
You just want to look at the other people?
Yeah, I'm just scoping them out to see, like, are they freaking out like me, or?
I mean, are all of you freaking out?
I look pretty pleased.
I'm standing there very menacingly.
I'll
just
put my
staring
weapon away.
I mean, I'm till F, so okay.
I haven't even gotten up yet.
Craig, Lason's just dead. Craig, I would assume from my profession, I would recognize the symbol of Torm on Rosalyn's armor.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, it's certainly not an uncommon religion or a god.
In that case, I'd be like fairly at ease because I'm pretty sure they aren't evil.
Have any of you seen a dog run through here?
What dog? Where? Who are you? Where am I? Where is Matthias?
Where's my dog?
All right.
Why am I here?
Yeah, I look down to Godfrey and I go, "Where is here exactly?" And I kind of give him like a really like.
So just so you're all sort of looking around, the area you're in, it appears to be almost like a small bowl in the ground, and there's kind of a pond of still brackish water to one side of you, and right around the edges of that pond is this kind of thick, withered-looking wood. The leaves of the trees look withered and sad, and a low wind kind of whistles through the trees, making them almost moan forlornly. A single raven stands on one of the branches, and it occasionally calls out. So yeah, that's where you guys are.
As I clean off myself with prestidigitation, I would ask, were any of the other of you attacked by fog?
Kind of.
Yes.
I'd like to peek my head up from the grass.
And then I'm gonna like freak out. What the?
Did you say fog?
Yes, I was doing an
Another one.
investigation, and fog seemed to attack me.
My
What's
driver
your-
just disappeared from a caravan. I went looking for him, and the fog just rolled in.
Your driver?
Yeah, wait.
I'm gonna put
what?
my
My
sword away.
carriage driver.
I wasn't attacked by fog, but I did run into some fog. Maybe
I had some creep up on me.
Yeah, you see, I made a thing that was meant to do this, but wasn't meant to make a lot of fog, and it did make a lot of fog.
So, if we don't know where here is, we at least know where are all of you from.
I'm from the Westwood.
Little
I'm
town of Gratia.
Oh, well, I'm from the Silver Peaks Academy.
With him.
It's not far
I don't-
outside Baldur's.
I don't recognize
Oh,
any of these places.
Actually, wait, Craig, if that's not far outside of Baldur's, would I recognize that academy?
You probably recognize the name and know roughly where it is.
Oh, okay. A mage then, I would take it.
Yeah, I'm a professor there.
Oh, well, then
And this
My
is my
pleasure to meet
assistant
you.
professor. And I'm going to gesture and look.
you're not like the usual mages I meet, but it's a pleasure to meet you all the same.
Oh, she teaches the practical side. Don't worry.
I just reach up on shelves for him, because.
I let out a hearty laugh.
Okay.
I'd be offended if she was wrong, but, I think my office used to be owned by an elf, so.
I'm Aramil. I'm from a town just south of Baldur's Gate.
The name's Lacen Pelta. The pleasure's mine.
Rosalyn Grey. Hi.
Well,
Sorry.
I'm Godfrey, and, this is my assistant Loki.
My name is Neurolos Gressa. I was tracking a criminal, and now I can't capture him.
I think you got bigger problems than that there, pal, right now. No
I
offense.
disagree. This man mutilated several people. I'm fine. Those
Teach
people.
their own.
Well, at least he didn't come with you.
Yeah. Bright side, I guess.
So where exactly are we? And I kind of take a look around. Like, what do I see around us, Craig?
Okay, so you guys are sort of in this bowl in the ground, but looking around, you can see that the weather appears to be overcast, and there's this kind of slow drizzle that comes onto the ground amongst you. Within the deeper recesses of the forest, you can see there's this familiar-looking mist drifting around, and I will say, pretty much along the edges, towards what would be, I guess, your east, there is this thick, tall wall of fog, seemingly extending around the edges of a land that opens out towards your west. But looking at the trees, they don't seem to be of a breed or, I don't know, a race of... Oh, is it a breed of trees?
Species.
Species. That's
Yeah,
the
species of trees.
the species of trees do not look familiar to you in the slightest, to any of you, I would say.
Do we see any like building, man-made structures anywhere?
Any animals even?
You don't even need to really make a check for this. There is that one raven on a branch that's kind of hopping between the branches, cawing out occasionally. As for any signs of civilization, looking around, you can see there's kind of this low, muddy path just at one edge of the kind of bowl that you're in.
Well, it seems like we're all from the same world, so maybe we're still in it. Maybe it didn't work.
Wait, you can move between their multiple worlds?
Yeah, it's something I've been working on.
Mostly just summons annoyances is what he does with it.
But they are from other worlds, so it works for them.
Till they get an axe in the head.
Well, yeah.
I'm gonna
hazard of the job.
I'm gonna ask that raven for directions. So
That's
I'm gonna
a normal
walk up.
thing to say. All right.
You talk to birds?
I'm gonna walk up to that raven.
Aramil, as you begin to look towards and make your way towards it, it calls out almost seemingly aggressively towards you before, with a sudden flutter, it heads off.
You're in the wrong neighborhood, pal.
Was it something you said?
I didn't even get the chance to say anything to him yet. Oh, they're not friendly here, but I guess in Duval, they're in Dunrast, they're all friendly. I don't know. It was weird.
Wow.
All right, well, I'm out of tricks.
We can't stay here. Pick a direction, I guess.
Well, there's an opening. There's a clearing, right?
So you guys are sort of in a clearing at the moment, but there is this muddy path. So one direction along the muddy path leads towards this wall of fog, essentially, that extends around the whole border of the land. But the other path seemingly leads deeper into the forest.
Before we go, one thing. Can you guys handle yourself? What if we get in any trouble here? What do you guys do?
I'm a paladin.
As she asks that, I would like to approach the wall of fog and shoot one of my crossbow bolts into it and see if I can hear the thunk.
Okay.
You say, "Ow! Why the bloody hell did you do that?"
Yeah, it's gonna come back out and shoot us. Watch. This is how he dies.
Strahd just sees a bolt go past, like, what?
Okay, no, you fire off into the mist, but you don't hear a tinkle of the metal of the bolt landing on anything or embedding into anything.
I'm going to put my left hand into the fog.
Okay.
Well, that's not a good... Okay.
Just your hand?
Yeah, just my left hand.
Okay, just your hand. Nothing happens. You put your hand into the mist. Nothing happens.
Isn't that the mist that attacked us? I don't know if you should put your hand in that just as a
Craig, could
token
I
of advice.
go up to the mist? And I won't do it as a ritual, because I imagine we're going to want to move on, but I would like to cast Detect Magic just while standing by the fog, the mist.
Sure.
Does it emanate any sort of magical aura? Or?
Not exactly, no. It's something deeper than a mere spell that may be causing this.
But do I pick up it's like not natural kind of thing?
Yes. Oh, yes. This is not natural. Definitely.
Walls of fog aren't common. I'll poke my sword into it, just like swirl it around.
Sure.
I imagine it swirls.
Yeah.
You guys better hope that mist doesn't have feelings.
It's like stirring a blizzard. Alright. Well, I mean, there's only one way forward, right? We
Still haven't answered my question. Can you guys handle yourselves? I mean, you did. I point to Rosalyn, and I obviously saw him shoot an arrow, but I'm talking to the other two.
I mean, to be fair, you can shoot an arrow and not really know how to handle yourself, but I imagine we'll be fine. We all look like I mean, worst case scenario, even if someone isn't, we're allies by necessity for the moment.
Can you handle yourself in battle?
I would just start walking on the trail
I
at
just
this
need
point.
to know
Yeah,
if I
I'll
have to-
I'll follow
I just
him.
need to know if I have to stand in front of you or not.
I would prefer if you did.
What do you do again?
Well, I'm a performer of sorts. Just like to play certain shows in places. You know, I don't don't fight a whole lot, but I can wield a crossbow pretty well.
Can you fake it?
I can fake it till I make it. That is how I make my business.
All right. We should be good then.
Maybe he can
boy.
sing our ballads when we're all dead.
Sure.
Are you always so down
Optimistic?
in the dumps with pessimistic is a better word.
She has a unique brand of optimism. Yes, it tends to go in the other direction.
When you hang out with this one for too long, you tend to just, expect anything at this point.
Exactly. It's exciting. Who knows what could happen? You get sucked through a portal into another
like, at the end
world.
of the trip. I'm in like that edge of the
Sure.
muddy trail, and I would at this point just be like, "So, you guys coming or what?"
Yep. I'll
Let's go.
mission over to him.
All right, I'll start following.
I'll just say to the group, tracking is something I've been trained in for a long time. I guess it's only, never mind. I guess there's only one way to go, so no need to track.
I'm pretty good at tracking if there's only one way to go.
You definitely
Well,
are a bard.
He got you there.
Okay.
I walk down the path as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you guys step onto the path, and yeah, it's black pools of water stand like dark mirrors in it and around the muddy roadway. Giant trees loom on both sides of the road, their branches clawing out towards you seemingly. But as you guys travel along the road, this journey might take a little while before we get to the next sort of part. It's just going to be sort of uneventful wood. So anything you guys want to do as you're traveling along, or
I want to ask a question. I'm gonna check out Lookin and be like, so how did this pairing happen? I refer to Godfrey.
Oh, that guy? Well, some sort of wizard of some sort that does magical stuff. He basically just needed some muscle, and I needed the coin, so basically just hired me on as his assistant, and hey, it's been providing food ever since, so why not?
Fair.
And like I said, he needs to reach things on shelves. He's pretty short,
Yes, he is. He is quite short. No offense.
Oh, don't let her sardonic wit cloud that sharp academic mind in there. Anyway, what about you? I know exactly what you are. You're a paladin.
I am
Surely
indeed.
there must have been some sort of intervention for you to be here, right?
Intervention? Not so much. Just needed a change in pace, I guess.
Have you tried, getting in touch with someone? Ringing up the support line?
Line was busy, I guess.
Yeah, apparently so.
Well, I could try. Sure, I might need to stop what we're doing, though, and I think we should keep going.
Yeah, you're probably right.
You're the
There might
expert,
be a
man.
better time.
You might want to save that favor for later, in case we need it.
so yeah, you guys just continually walking along the road.
Yes.
Okay, so as you guys sort of round a bend, and there's this sort of low mist covering the ground, you can just see jutting out from this mist are these high stone buttresses looming grey in the fog. Huge iron gates hang on the stonework. Dew clings with cold tenacity to the rusted bars.
Oh.
Two headless statues of armed guardians flank the gate, their heads now lying amongst the weeds at their feet. They greet you only with silence.
Anybody recognize these or anything like that?
Do I recognize them at all?
They're just headless stone
I just wasn't
carvings.
sure if there's any markers, maybe. that
No,
would-
there doesn't seem to be. They just seem to be some sort of martial figures.
How big are they?
Could I approach one and have a look?
Sure. You approach one
Just
and
to try and discern if they have any, arcane qualities or...
no, you don't really. Well, make an arcane kind of check, I
Alright.
guess.
Oh, I'm good at these. That's a 15 overall.
Okay, so yeah, sniffing deeply and trying to inhale any magical vapors. Really, you pick up almost no trace of magic. Whatever these were, they were carved purely from stone.
Smells like someone's barbecuing though.
However, as you get closer towards them, the closed gates suddenly and slowly open out towards you with this kind of dull creak of their hinges.
So we haven't seen any like movement other than the one raven. Like there hasn't been any like movement on the other side of the gate or anything.
No.
How big are these gates? Are they?
They are about 60 feet tall. They are
Massive.
very high. It's hard to see the top of them because of the kind of low mist that hangs across the land almost.
And they just straight up open themselves.
Yeah, they just seemingly opened by themselves.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm taking my
yes.
bow out.
I guess someone or something wants us to say hi.
Yeah,
Well, apparently
I mean,
so.
we're going in the right direction.
At least they're
I'm,
friendly.
I'm like jittering. Like what is going on?
So you guys are all you've seen the gates open, you're all waiting expectantly for someone to walk through.
Yeah.
I'll walk through first.
Yeah.
Or
Let's go.
are you wanting to walk through, Lokai?
I think we all are, right? At this point?
I'd be walking
Yeah.
behind Lokai, for sure.
So you guys are
Oh.
walking through the...
I will
Yeah.
walk next to Lokai.
Okay. So you guys pass through the gates and lead you through the sort of dark stone tunnel until you guys get on to the other side. And again, it seems to be this muddy path continues a little bit further along, again with this thick wood coming up to the edges of the path. And as you all pass through the gates, they slowly close behind you with a dull thud.
Oh, come on. Really? Is that necessary?
This is like a play that I saw one time.
Yeah, it's awfully dramatic.
How did that play end by any chance?
I don't know. I left before it ended.
Oof. Well, that's just unlucky. All right,
Well, there's no
onwards
sense
and
in going
forwards.
back now. Might as well keep
Yeah.
going forward.
You continue to follow the road. Okay. So yeah, these towering trees, their tops lost almost in the heavy grey mist around you, block out all but this death grey light. The tree trunks are naturally close to one another, and the woods have the silence of a forgotten grave, yet exude the feeling of an unvoiced scream. As you guys travel along this road for about another 20 minutes or so, Lokai, you catch a scent in the air, a familiar scent, the smell of death and decay, seemingly coming from the woods off to your left.
Can I take a look, like, see if I can't see anything?
Sure, make a perception check.
Oh boy. Natural 20.
Right.
Whoa!
So staring out into the wood, you can see there's an area where there's seemingly almost a clearing amongst...
It's my new dice, guys.
It's the new dice, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll say it's that. So yeah, looking, you can see there at the base of a tree. There looks to be a body of someone.
Second, guys. I kind of
It's
like.
about I should say it's about 15 feet off the muddy path.
Yeah, I kind of like put my hand up to like everybody stop for a second, and I turn over and I like kind of like nod towards like the tree, kind of, and I like slowly kind of start sauntering over there.
Yeah, I'll go with.
I would
Yeah.
approach.
Are you all approaching?
What is that?
I'll keep a lookout behind us, but I'll go with them.
Yeah,
Okay, so-
as we approach, I basically tell everybody like be on your guard, kind of,
Okay.
and yeah, I was gonna say, can I approach the body?
Yeah, sure. So this foul scent leads you to a human corpse, half buried in the underbrush, about 15 feet from the road. It appears to be a young man, seemingly dressed like just a regular commoner. He has kind of brown homespun clothing, but his clothes are torn and raked with claw marks. You can see crows seemingly have been picking at the body, and it's surrounded by paw prints. The man has obviously been dead for several days, and you can see where kind of one of his arms is tucked beneath the body. There seems to be a scrap of, or a letter or envelope in one hand, I would say.
I
Is
would
it-
reach for it.
You say he's half buried, like someone attempted to bury him, or just the
No,
elements?
it's just sort of like, almost like
You just
grind
covered with
or-
stuff.
Yeah, grind
Also,
or
paw
dirt.
prints.
Okay.
Yeah,
Bruno.
paw.
Yeah, would I be able to distinguish kind of what kind of paw prints, like how big is the beast, kind of like obviously we're kind of in a weird place, but like maybe
Make a nature check.
Can I help her?
Sure. So you can have advantage if you'd like.
Advantage.
Advantage.
15.
15. Okay, yeah, I would say, look, you recognize the paw prints around it as wolf prints. Certainly
Wolf
not
prints.
golden retriever prints.
No.
Darn, not Bruno.
I would be very familiar with wolves, so I'd be like, looks like something, maybe a wolf, something like that. Medium-sized, probably tore him apart. By the looks of it, I'm assuming he probably got torn up by the animal. I'm assuming.
Well, we shouldn't have any problem with a wolf.
What does the note say?
Oh, sorry, did you reach for the note?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So as you reach for the note, and you can see the parchment's has this sort of wax seal on it with a large B stamped into it. The parchment itself is kind of worn and flimsy and slightly bloodstained, but I shall reveal to you all through the power of Roll20 what this note says. But I shall read it out for everyone's watching reference.
It is
So
also
says-
on the screen. How good
No, it's on. I'll read it out for you as well. Anyway, so it says, "Hail thee of might and valor. I, the Burgomaster of Barovia, send you honor with despair. My adopted daughter, the fair Irina Kolyana, has been these past nights bitten by a vampire. For over 400 years, this creature has drained the lifeblood of my people. Now my dear Irina languishes and dies from an unholy wound caused by this vile beast. He has become too powerful to conquer. So I say to you, give us up for dead and encircle this land with the symbols of good. Let holy men call upon their power that the devil may be contained within the walls of weeping Barovia. Leave our sorrows to our graves and save the world from this evil fate of ours. There is much wealth entrapped within this community. There is much wealth entrapped in this community. Return for your reward after we are all departed for a better life." And it's signed Kolyan Direwolf.
I will turn to Rosalyn.
Okay, well, actually, before that, Lookin, Neurolos, as the note was kind of stuck on the body. As you kind of shifted it slightly, the small wooden rod rolls out. Looks like a switch. And Rosalyn, all of a sudden, looking at that switch, you immediately recognize it. It's the switch that your father used to beat you with when he was disciplining you as a child.
The exact one?
Yes. It brings back the sudden wash of terrible memories and a night spent in pain and...
I don't like it.
I suppose I would reach out and grab it. I'm going to look at it just to make sure it's the exact same one.
It is the exact same one. You
What?
recognize it immediately.
Well, I guess my face is a dead giveaway, but
Yeah, for the rest of you all see Rosalind reach down and pick up this wooden switch, and her face almost drains of color as she does so.
What is
What?
it?
What's wrong?
it's a pretty bad memory, this. I have no idea how it ended up here.
It's yours?
Well, no, not mine. It belonged to my father.
Hell is it doing here?
Is that your father?
Is that my father, Craig?
No, it
I'm
looks like a
guessing-
young man.
Did your father
Do I
have a
re-
strong interest in portal magic?
Do I recognize this guy at all? Like a family member or?
No, he does not look familiar to you at all.
All right.
Seems like a silly question, but do I know what a switch is?
Yeah, I mean, this is just a, maybe not everyone knows exactly. Maybe you as a player don't know what it means, John. But a switch is like whoosh, like a wooden stick.
Yeah,
whip
you like
across someone's back.
hit people with it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
When you were a
look-
kid,
it's what you're.
your parents told you to go out in the garden and pick up.
yeah.
Yes.
Beat you with.
Yes,
Awful.
exactly that. So yeah, everyone, all of you would know what a switch is. It's immediately recognizable.
Not the
she's,
Nintendo variant, friends.
No. When she's kind of looking it over, I go, "Was your father an ass?"
To put it politely, yes. Yes, he was.
That thing's bigger than. Ugh.
After that discovery, I would search the body to see if there are any more trinkets that are related to us.
Okay, sure. Make an investigation check.
While he's doing that, I'm gonna keep a
Okay. Just looking through the looking through the body, that was seemingly the only thing that he had on him. Lokai. Sorry, I'm trying to remember everyone's name.
That's okay. I was just
Lokai.
gonna say while he's doing that, I'm just keeping an eye out to make sure. Obviously.
Okay, make a perception check for me.
Because if those were wolves, they might be still around.
Hungry puppies.
Oh shoot. 22.
Yep. Okay.
Who are you and what have you done with the reel they're in?
I'm proficient in perception.
Look, as you kind of take a look around and listen out, you can hear the howling of a wolf echoing out through the forest deeper away from you, and it's suddenly joined by several more that seemingly are coming from different directions all around you. Sounds like they're potentially
Closing
moving
in?
around you. Yes.
But
Everyone-
with that search, is there anything else interesting that I found?
Nope.
Well, Craig, I would also say my detect magic is still up at this point, I'm guessing.
Sure.
Is there any magic coming off of the switch?
Wait, no. When did you cast detect magic?
When I
It was
looked
back-
at the wall of fog.
Yeah, that's been gone.
okay.
I mean, you guys have been traveling for like 2 or 3 hours. now.
Okay, cool.
Sorry, I should have.
That's
I'll
all
keep you
right.
up to date.
What I was gonna say earlier before all that happened was I was gonna turn to Rosalyn now after the switch thing has happened. Rosalyn, do you know what this letter is talking about? Would this be something your orders?
I would say, as you continue to talk, the sounds of these wolves howling is
Hey.
getting closer and closer and closer.
Everyone, ready? The wolves are back.
I would like to cast Mage
Sort
Armor
of.
myself.
Okay.
I get my axe out. I'm ready to go.
Alright,
I
you
will stand in front of John. Remind me your character's name again.
Name is Layson.
Layson. I'll say, Layson, I'll cover you. You use that crossbow.
I
would
can aim
like
it pretty
to
well,
jump
I think.
Behind Lokai.
Okay,
I'll
but you
stand
get.
with Logan.
All right, if you guys are staying there, then let's. All of a sudden, the behind the trunks and seemingly all around you, 5 large wolves appear. But I would say to Lokai and Aramil, you immediately recognize these are not regular wolves. These are much larger and much fiercer looking.
Yes.
Seemingly dire wolves, I will say.
Oh, I thought
Good.
There's
good.
so many battle maps on Roll20, so give me a
Game of
second.
Thrones,
I'll
baby!
Shuffle things along.
Could use more teeth for my
There are
nipples.
6 for 6 characters. It is a sign.
Yeah, I don't think these ones are coming home with us.
Well, maybe.
I have a question, randomly
All 6
unrelated.
nat
Can you
20.
tame animals?
Yeah, you have to.
You gotta do a
You have to,
animal
like-
handling check.
You have to
Oh,
animal
wow.
handling check, and they have to be tameable as well too.
Ah,
You can't like nat 20 and Nothic and just take it home.
Nothing. Of all
Okay,
the
so you
animals
guys
to tame.
are within the forest there in that sort of clearing. And if you all want to make a roll initiative for me, I always forget that part.
They're like this.
How about
mean,
we all
funny.
go and they don't get to go?
That's not how it works, John.
That would have been nice in the Milton fight.
Hey, that's not bad. I
Alright.
love having a really high initiative. It's awesome.
Do I have any bonus to this?
What do you mean?
No, sorry, I'm just looking. I'm figuring out my initiative.
Oh, right, okay.
Alright.
Oh, sorry, let me add you all to the turn order. John, where'd you go?
There.
John's
You
behind me.
disappeared.
John's behind me.
I don't see him.
Where did you come from? Where did
I'm right behind Godfrey.
John, can you
Oh, wait.
delete your token and re-add it for me?
Sure.
Wait, I haven't rolled yet.
Yeah, I know.
Do
Just
you want to switch spots, Lookin?
Yeah, that would just make more sense. Well, actually, wait. I mean, I don't really care. Actually, do you want to switch spots? It doesn't really matter to me.
I feel like it'd probably be smarter.
I'm a tanky lad. I think I have.
Good luck.
I mean, we can switch. I'm just saying. I think we're comparable here. You know what? You go in front. I insist.
Level 3 ranger thinks he's comparable to the barb. Good luck.
Right, so if
sir.
you all roll initiative and add it onto the
Yeah.
turn order.
Yes, sir.
Wait, no. Hang on.
Other than Bard Boy, all pretty
I like how
neat.
John's going first.
Of course I
Alright.
am.
I
Yeah,
will
so-
sing you a song of my people.
All right, so yeah, these direwolves suddenly break from the trees. They begin to growl and slowly stalk towards all of you. You almost get the sense that they're trying to shepherd you towards the road. But Layson, you're up first. What would you like to do?
Very simply, I'd like to run. Can I see this wolf over here on the left?
Yep.
I'm gonna take a shot. How far away am I here? Yeah, I move 10 feet this way, and then take a shot at that guy.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. That's not the greatest roll. I rolled a 14.
Yeah, that hits.
Hey, first time for everything. All right, D8. Damn it, minimum damage. I rolled 3 damage.
3 damage. Okay, so yeah, the bolt sinks into the fur of the wolf, but it just continues to growl and push towards you. It didn't really do anything, really. Anything else?
Yeah, no.
Nope.
I think that's it for me.
All right, Aramil.
I was muted. Those 2 wolves at the top, they are not within 5 feet of each other, correct?
No.
Unlucky. All right. Can you real quick ping for me? Which one did Layson just shoot?
That one on the
That
left.
I don't know if I can reach that one. I can. Well, it depends. Is Lokai gonna let me run past her?
All right, go ahead.
All right. Then I will go ahead and run up to that one. I'll make a swing at it.
Sure.
That is a 23 to hit.
Yeah, that hits.
Owie.
For 6 and another 6. 15 points of slashing damage.
15. All right. Okay, so you swing your sword back and carve a deep gash into the flank of the wolf, and it kind of yelps out and growls. And I will say that these are quite intimidating looking. They are large, well-muscled wolves with these kind of long fangs. So, anything else?
Forgot to cast Hunter's Mark. That's fine. It's all good. All right, end my turn.
We're still learning our character.
Growing pains.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Growing pains.
Rosalind, you're up.
Oh, it's me. Right, sorry. I'm also looking through my new spells that I've never played before. I would like to cast Bane, because why not? On the doggos.
Okay, which ones? You pick 3?
Oh, wait, hang on. No, it went away.
Where's Darrow when you
I'm
need
gonna go for... Go away. Go away. Go away.
That's not going to work on the wolves.
No, roll 20 is big and derp. These 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so right to left, I got a 11, 4, and then the last one gets another 11. So I think, yeah, that's below your DC, so they all fail. So I'll give them, what's that? I can't find the eye. I'll just give them the love heart.
Aww.
There we go.
Beautiful.
They're baned.
Love it.
Eyes full of
Yes. So now they have to do what it minus what it.
Yep,
minus
but don't worry,
D4.
I'll keep track of it.
Cool. And then I don't think I have any bonus action things, so I'll just move over here and hang out.
Okay, Godfrey.
All right. I'm going to
Where'd you
take a couple of wary steps backwards to here. And I guess I
Godfrey, one thing I will say,
Okay.
as you take a step backwards closer to the road, there's a wolf that was seemingly locking eyes with you. As you did, it looked away from you and started to focus on Lokai instead.
do I
So,
perceive
Yeah, you
this?
see that.
Huh. Interesting.
So just
I
me, or
guess-
did the epic battle music go?
You may need to
No, it's
refresh.
roll 20 bug. Yeah, I just had to refresh for that. But
Alright.
I guess at that point, I would say to the group, they seem to be guarding the forest. Maybe we should back up. But while saying that, I will also throw a firebolt straight up the middle towards the one past. Could I see the one past Rosalyn?
Yeah, it's
Okay,
fine.
yeah, I'll throw a firebolt up at that,
Okay, go ahead.
which is an 18 overall.
Yeah, that hits.
All right. Hey, that's pretty good. I don't have a. Do I have a mod to this? Let me check. Sorry. Not normally a wizard. I normally just hit things.
Yeah, I don't think there's a mod to damage for Firebolt, but I'm not 100% sure.
I would know if my roll 20 would unbreak, which would be great. Okay. Come on, roll 20. You can do it. I apologize. Roll 20 is clearly having some sort of death throes right now.
I can quickly check for you. If you'd
Thank
like.
you. I think there is a mod to it. I rolled a 9. so-
Meanwhile, make sure to check out our subreddit
Yeah.
/r/.
And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can catch the show every week when it comes out.
No, it's just
make
one
sure to leave a
D10.
thumbs up to
Okay, in
support
that
Merchant's
case,
channel.
oh yeah, it's Eldritch Blast where you can take the damage mod. Yeah, okay, so
Yeah.
9 points of fire damage.
Okay, so you raise your hand and fire off a blast of fire towards it, and it scores deep along the fur, and there's a smell of burnt hair in the air as it kind of yelps out.
After that, to test my theory, I'm going to back up more. But I'm just going to back up the way I was going, so...
Okay, so yeah, any wolves that you think might have been catching glances at you or anything like that, they seemingly stop looking towards you and are focused entirely on the rest of the party within the forest, I will say.
Does it look like my firebolt bothered the wolf?
Yeah, I mean, it's got a deep burn along the side of its shoulder.
Okay. Alright, I'll end my turn then.
Okay. Lookin.
All right. So I heard Godfrey's basically like backup message.
Yep.
Which I will eventually do, but in the meantime, I'm going to rage.
Okay.
So I'm gonna get myself all pumped up.
I just thought it was funny. It's like, I'll eventually back up, but I'm going to rage first.
But
back steps.
Treats.
It's like sass rage.
No, I like, because basically I don't want to like peace out because everybody's gonna get hit. I'm basically gonna take a defensive stance and kind of like keep the wolves fixated on me while my allies can back up first. Because I don't wanna...
So, and just to say, would you like to prepare an action?
Yeah, if there's a wolf that basically comes up to me or any like where 5 feet of me, basically, I'll just take a swing at it.
Okay, Niralos.
Okay, so I guess I would join the squad. How far is this? That's 20 feet. All right, so I will move back toward the road. And I suppose... Do I still want to shoot them? Yeah, I'll still shoot them. I will go ahead and fire an arrow off at that one up there. The one right above Rosalyn.
Go ahead. Go ahead and try.
Well, let's see. I got a 15.
Okay, that hits.
All right. So I will deal a d8 plus 3. I did... Oh, cool. 7. So that's 10 total.
10 total. Okay, so as you back off, the wolves around you seemingly stop staring at you. But as you fire off a bolt, and it sinks deep into the wolf, it lets out a yelp, and kind of growls and looks towards you before focusing back on Rosalyn. So, anyway,
that is the end of my turn. Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, let me go. I'll go left to right here. The one opposite you, Aramil. Let me just double check its stats. What would you like to do? So they have a lot of options anyway. Okay, so it's going to try and bite you. That's an 8. So it misses. So it tries to take a bite of you, but your armor just kind of gets scoured and gouged, but seemingly nothing happens. The one above you suddenly dashes through the woods towards you and tries to attack you. And as you're kind of distracted by it, it does get to roll with advantage, I'll just say. Okay, so that's a non-natural 20.
Yep.
Okay. So you'll need to make a strength saving throw for me.
Sure. That is a 19 plus 3, 22.
Okay, so you take 10 points of piercing damage as the wolf's teeth sink deep into your shoulder, and as its kind of paws are up in your chest, you feel yourself almost stumble back and fall down, but you manage to keep your balance. And the next one up here will move down to you, Lokai, and I will subtract the 4 for Bane. So let's see. Okay, well that's a non-natural 2 anyway. So it tries to bite towards you, but it just can't reach towards. But Lokai, if you want to use your reaction now, because you said
I'll absolutely smack it. Natural 20.
Oh my
god. Plus I'm an +4, so I get what is it?
Savage crit.
Savage crit?
Yeah, savage crit. Yeah, that's the...
So I get an extra hit die on top of my hit dice.
That's rude.
That's 3d12s, boys and girls.
Loren ordered weighted dice.
Yeah, exactly. It had to
Those
balance
dice
out
are
or that
loaded.
once.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Honestly,
about
half orcs with axes are pretty terrifying. Jeez.
Alright, here we go.
Oh, this poor dog.
This is like the golden snitch of our dice.
You're
Yeah.
gonna roll 3 ones on damage.
I low rolled, so it's not that exciting. 19 damage.
Okay,
Low
that's still a
Low
pretty
roll.
solid hit. But as the direwolf kind of leaps towards you and tries to take a bite, you essentially step back and just swing your axe overhead and just smash it down onto its back, attempting to break its spine. And it kind of yelps and cries out before looking back up and growling deep towards you. Don't awe, Alias. These are direwolves. They're ferocious. They're
It's
not
a
cute.
dog.
It's not a dog. It's a direwolf.
It's a puppy.
No, they're dogs. Sorry.
All right, okay. Well, let's see how that goes, eh? All right, so the direwolf above you, Rosalyn, comes towards you, and I will try and take a bite out of you. Okay, with the... All right, that's 14 total, which I assume did not hit. And then the second one, as it kind of moves alongside, it does get a roll with advantage, and that's a natural 20. So even with Bane, that still does nothing. So how's that for a dog?
She's still salty. I love
Okay,
it.
little puppy. Ow, it's okay.
Okay.
There it goes.
I need you to make a strength saving throw for me as well.
Mess with the
Alright.
doggo, you get the floggo.
And you take 19 points of piercing damage.
What the shit?
How's that for a crit, eh?
Wait, strength saving throw?
Yeah, strength saving
More,
throw.
are they?
What do I add? What modifier do I add to that? It's up there. Okay.
It should just be on the top left of your character sheet.
Shit, that's not good. 7.
7. Okay, so as this wolf pounces up towards you and sinks its teeth deep into your shoulder, the weight of it pushes you down and you are knocked
crap.
prone.
Oh shit. 19?
Right. Yes.
Freaking hell. That's a
So
lot
I'll
of.
give you that.
Get out.
Show your-
Lot of oof.
Don't worry, I got this.
Okay, and at the end of their turn, before your turn, Layson, you guys hear the howling of more wolves
Oh, shit.
reverberating deep into the forest around you and getting closer. But Layson, it's your go.
Time to go, boys and girls.
Layson, as quickly as he possibly can, while yelling and hearing, "Run! Run!" Run to about here.
Okay.
I will cast Healing Word, so I will say, "Come on, you have to run with me. I'm not getting stuck here by myself." I cast a Healing Word on, what's your name? Rosalind.
Thanks.
Yikes.
And that is
That's the end of your turn.
math. That is 4
4
healing.
4 point.
for
Nice.
Rosalind. Sorry.
Nice.
And since that's a bonus action, I will take a shot at the wolf that downed Rosalind.
Okay, that wolf hasn't been injured yet, I will say. It's the one on the furthest right.
Oh, I see.
Hit the one I'm fighting.
All right.
Its face.
I'll shoot that one instead. Turns out a crossbow was 80. Didn't realize that. Yeah, I'm gonna take a swing or a shot.
Swing
Just
with the crossbow.
swings his crossbow.
All right, no, go ahead.
I rolled a 9.
That does not hit. As you fire off a bolt, it just goes whizzing through the forest. And look, I almost have to duck as this bolt whizzes past your ear. Anything else?
That's it for me.
All
Yeah,
right.
no.
Aramil.
Okay. I have the exact wording in my bio sheet, but Greg, I would like to use my primeval awareness. They recognize me as a kindred spirit, and through sounds and gestures, I can communicate simple ideas to a beast as an action, and I can also learn or actions I can take to, make it not attack. So I will say to it, basically, we apologize for coming into your forest. We are going to leave said forest now.
Okay, and that's your action?
Yeah.
Okay, as you speak towards these wolves and whatever hope of communication you would hope to impart on them just seemingly falls on deaf ears for them.
Wolves.
You guys are... Come on, guys. All right. You're killing me. All right, well, I guess I'm just taking 2 opportunity attacks and I'm running away from these guys. So,
All right, okay.
well, this could go poorly, but, I can get all the way over to Layson, so I'll make a mad dash and get over here. I guess
Okay.
I'll do this.
All right, so they'll both get to attack you. All right, the first one just tries to bite onto the back of your legs as you're dashing away, but it misses. The second one... Oh, okay. 22 to hit, which I assume hits. I need you to make
that misses. Sorry, Craig.
I need you to make a strength saving throw for me.
Sure.
And you take 8 points of piercing damage.
Okay, that's a natural 15, so... Actually, I have a +5 on that, so 20.
Okay, so you aren't knocked prone, but you do take 8 points of piercing damage.
Ow.
And as I will say, as you kind of back off towards the forest, the direwolves that were looking towards you are now looking towards Rosalyn and Lookin.
Fun.
But anything else, or is that your turn?
Yeah, I guess that's my turn. I'll go ahead and end my turn.
All right, Rosalyn.
So it's half my movement to stand up, right?
That's correct.
All right. Well, I will use half my movement to stand up. And then I've heard them all running away, so I'm just like, well, shit, I'm out. I'm gonna lay on hands on me before I run and take 2 attacks from these doggos. No?
Just action to disengage.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, just because I know
Disengage.
disengage means that it's your action to do it, but it means that they can't take attacks opportunity against you. So you
Okay,
might
I'm
find
just
that's
used to
better
getting
than
hit.
using a bit of healing to subvert any damage you take. So.
All right, so I'm just gonna stand and we'll lose the doggos. I'm gonna be like, chill, puppers. It's okay. And I'm gonna back up slowly, disengage, and run the fuck away.
Okay, sure. Okay, so you back up towards the edge of the road, and yeah, the wolves
I
seemingly
moved
turn
too
away from you. Oh, did you move too far?
15.
I did move too far. I should be there.
Okay, lovely. All right, Godfrey.
All right, I will.
Let's go, wolves.
Yeah. I will use my action just to... honestly, I'm just going to use the message cantrip and just say to Loki,
Get back, you great big lummox.
I'm working
And,
on it. I'm working on it.
and
See
I'm
that?
gonna-
I almost broke his back.
I'm going to end my turn there.
Okay. Lokai.
All right, I'm going to. Yeah, I'm just gonna take my. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna take this opportunity attack. I'm gonna stand in front of Rosalyn and again form a defensive position in order to try to take the heat from her as she tries to get out.
Okay, so
I am gonna take 1 attack. Yeah, it's just.
Alright, okay.
Can I use my action basically to like try to like block her as like? I don't know if that's really an action I could take, but I'm just trying to basically take the heat.
I mean, I don't really know what you're referring. Are you trying to draw aggro or something like that?
Yeah,
Because there's
yeah,
not really a
more or
way you
less.
can do that, and with an action outside of like a spell or something.
Yeah, no.
So-
But okay, but I'll disengage and then just stand there and look mean.
All right, okay. And Nurlos.
I guess I will prepare an action for if they try and attack someone. I guess I have to be specific. So if they try to attack Lokai, I'll shoot the one that attacks them.
Okay. All right. So what I'll say is is that the end of your turn, Justin?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So the direwolves, as you guys sort of slowly back off towards the road, Lokai, as you begin to sort of take a defensive posture around Rosalyn, they growl and howl out towards you as you guys slowly back away until they come to the edge of the forest where it meets the muddy path, and they're just growling lowly at you guys as you back off. But seemingly they're not moving to make any anything hostile. So anything you guys would like to do, or are you all just sort of slowly going to back
I'm
away?
going to watch and just make sure they are kind of legitimately backing off, you know?
Yeah, I'm gonna
okay.
basically keep myself between them and her party.
Okay, so as you got, you're keeping an eye on the wolves, and as you begin to back off, and they stare out and growl towards you. A few of them kind of peel off and begin to tear at the body, and it's amongst the undergrowth, and you can see flitting through the trees behind them. There seems to be a pack of at least a dozen, maybe more wolves running between the trees behind them. But they continue to almost stare and growl at you as you guys slowly back away.
Yeah, let's just get out of here.
All right. Okay, so I'll take us off the battle map.
Ooh.
Damn,
Okay.
dags.
What the hell was that?
Those weren't no ordinary wolves, I
no,
can tell
they
you
were
that much.
intelligent. I've never seen them act like that.
Am I gonna get rabies?
I mean, you might.
I think you should be okay. Those dogs didn't look feral. They wouldn't have stopped coming at
Yeah.
us if they were.
I can cauterize the wound if you like, but you won't enjoy it.
Well, I suppose better than nothing. I'll hold up my arm.
Oh, I don't know if you should have taken him up on that offer.
I will hold a firebolt, but like in my hand, and just like
Sure.
cauterize the wound.
I'll be like,
Okay. All right. All right. So, Godfrey, you still.
He's never done this before.
Well, then you have to
Oh, I
sort of.
have.
I'm good. I'll just wrap some shit around it.
All right, you know what? Okay.
Nobody ever lets me do that. Come on.
Hmm.
I've done it to myself before. I mean, the scar
Show me
is
where.
pretty
By
horrendous.
accident.
Oh, it might have to be later when I show you where.
Oh dear God, I don't want to see that, please.
The scar
Okay.
is pretty cool, though.
We should get moving before those wolves decide to follow us.
Yeah,
I
let's-
agree. Although I don't think they're gonna leave that wood.
Yeah, it was strange. I'm surprised that I don't know. Normally, I can sort of, feel animals out, kind of get a sense for them. But these wolves were kind of they weren't really, my speed. That wherever we are seems to animals and maybe even people behave differently here.
Well, we've yet to find one living, so let's continue our trek. Maybe we
I
will.
feel like we shouldn't forget about Rosalyn's old switch here either. How the hell did this get here?
Oh yeah, I keep getting interrupted by plot events, but so Rosalind,
That when that happens.
do you know what this letter is talking about? It talks a lot about leaving people behind and cleansing with holy light, all of that kind of stuff. That's not really something I've ever experienced.
Craig, would
or
I
known about.
know these people in this letter, or
Nope, none of the names.
understand anything that's mentioned in this?
I mean, you understand the English and the grammar, or well, not the common of the letter and the grammar that it's written in. But as for anything specific that you can glean from this more than anyone else, I would say no.
Would I know of Barovia? Would that be a place I've ever heard of?
No,
No.
I wouldn't say so.
I have no idea what this place is, who these people are, or how this got here. I haven't seen this in over 10 years.
Huh.
It's beyond me. Your guess is as good as mine.
Are we walking and talking?
Yes.
Yeah, I assume so.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
You're having a conversation with this wolves like growling.
Yeah, the wolves are
Anyway.
slowly
Yeah,
encircling
Excuse
us.
me, wolves. We're trying to have a conversation.
I mean, at this point, we might as well just keep going, see if we can't find any source of indication of what the hell's going on here.
Just
Yeah.
another living person at this point who can help us out.
Yes, onward.
Okay. So you guys begin to push further along the muddy path, and before we get to potentially the next thing that they see, why don't we go ahead and take a break here?
All right.
Evil tags.
We shall be back shortly.
All right. Welcome back, everyone. So yeah, we just left the party there as they were traveling along this muddy road, and they seem to have lots of questions about where exactly they are, about what exactly is going on. So yeah, let's rejoin them. So you guys are still heading along this muddy path, and trees again line the edges of this kind of low mist flitting between them. Is there anything you'd like to do as you're sort of traveling along?
Avoid the
will-
mist.
I will, yeah,
Avoid
I will
them?
keep a lookout for other dangerous things, possibly.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you guys keep a good look out exactly into the trees and around you, but there doesn't seem to be any more movement around you or anything like that until eventually, after a time spent on the road, you come to an area where there seems to be a break in the trees at the end of the path. So as you continue along and get to the edge of the forest, looking out, you can see that the land you're in is essentially a large valley with you at one end. Steep cliffs and mountains border the edges, and you can still make out this wall of fog that essentially encircles the whole area. The landscape itself seems to be made up of rolling hills and thick forest, and again, you can still see more and more of this pale mist that covers the ground. But you guys are a little bit above the kind of lower grounded areas. Off to your left, you can see there's a river which flows with a clear blue, almost as blue as a winter sky through the valley. And deep within the valley as well, you can see there's a small, weary-looking village with tired old structures inside it, the river curving around it, and then there seems to be a stone bridge that goes across the river just beyond the village itself. The village itself is set alongside the base of a sheer cliff, and sitting atop the cliff, like a heavy crown on a head, is a large castle. Two tall towers peak above the walls of the castle, which look down on the village, Cringing below.
I would want to go straight for that village. So I'm going to ask everyone, that looks like a good place to look for some form of life.
Agreed.
I imagine so.
Yeah,
And
that's-
if not, we
okay.
can just go talk to whoever's in charge at the castle.
They might be able to help us get back to where we are.
All right. So you guys head, because there is a slightly downward path, and you'll have to kind of descend into the fog, or it's not really the thick fog that you went into. Don't be worried like that. But so yeah, you guys move down the muddy path, and you begin to make your way across the land. And again, after another hour or two of travel through this slightly weary and strange seemingly land, you arrive on the outskirts of the village, and you can see tall shapes loom out of the dense fog that surrounds everything. The muddy ground underfoot gives way to slick, wet cobblestones, and the tall shapes gradually become recognizable as village dwellings. But the windows of each house stare out from pools of blackness. No sound cuts the silence, except for a mournful sob that echoes through the streets from a distance.
Is there no sort of, like, lit up windows, no glowing lamps, or
nothing?
No sense of life, basically.
Not from where you guys are. You guys are still sort of on the edge of the village.
Is all we hear just that weeping?
Make a perception check.
Perception.
Okay, that's a 21.
21. Okay. Very occasionally interspersed amongst the mournful sobbing, you hear just a small squeak every so often, almost rhythmically.
Squeak.
Yes.
Okay, so I relay that to the rest of the party, and I say, could we go towards the sound? I feel like we should help whoever that is.
Yeah,
We'll
we
make
better
it-
help them.
We can make our way over. Just again, be wary of anything.
If
Be on
they're
your
the
guard.
only living thing we find other than those wolves, this is we have to help them.
Okay, so you guys are moving through the village now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
Keep an eye out.
yeah, being
Yeah,
very,
I
very
was-
like.
Okay.
I want to see if like any faces duck behind windows when we walk by or anything like that.
Okay. Sorry, 2 seconds. Okay, so
Some creepier music.
no, we've been on the same track for a little while. I thought I'd better change it before we get to the next section. So as you guys are moving through the village, the squeaking that you were hearing, Aramil, begins to sound a little bit closer and a little bit louder, and the rest of the party can make it out until eventually, breaking out from the wall of fog itself, you can see there's a lonely sound that comes from this hunched figure that's kind of bundled in rags, and they seem to be pushing a rickety wooden cart, and it kind of rattles as it goes across the damp cobbles.
I'm assuming it's not looking at us.
No, the figure seems to be kind of head bent over, slowly pushing this wooden cart.
Is it humanoid looking, like the size of a human?
Yeah, it could be, seemingly a little bit hunched over, but
Is it bipedal?
yeah, it's got 2 legs, whatever.
Bruno? No, I just. I guess I'll call out. Excuse me.
Okay, so as you crawl out towards the figure, the head, which is sort of bent over the cart, looks up, and you can see there seems to be a kindly face of an older woman that lights up. She's got kind of a drooping and heavily wrinkled face, and she's kind of bundled in all these shawls and rags, but she has a scarf wrapped around her head, and she says, "Oh, hello, dearie." Hello, and she begins to quickly push her cart towards. And I assume all of you are standing out in the street.
Yeah.
She comes towards you and says,
Was this the source of the crying? Sorry.
"No, doesn't
No.
seem to be."
Okay.
So as she's kind of tottering over towards you, see her face lights up and says, "Oh, come out the fogs, dearies. Let Granny get a good look at you."
I would like to press X for doubt and do like some insight stuff. I cannot trust old grannies in like gothic horror things.
Okay, what would you like to do?
I guess insight on them.
I would say
I
hello
don't
back,
know if
personally.
Do we
Yeah,
see what's in her cart?
You're all asking
one thing at a time.
one thing at a time. Justin, the insight check. I'm going to need something specific, what you want to check.
Okay.
Just distrusting something, I would say, is more of a player perception rather than something you can be like, should I distrust this person? So
What?
So what I'm saying is that feeling that someone might be distrustful in this situation, I would say, isn't something you could check.
Okay.
She hasn't.
You haven't interacted with her, really.
I wouldn't say you could tell if she's lying or if she's hiding something. She just seems to be this kind of slightly short, pudgy older woman, kind of smiling towards you. And I understand that you might be distrustful of that, but...
Okay. I am on my guard.
Okay.
I would say hello to her.
Okay.
Yeah, hello, ma'am.
That's
So you're
hello.
all
there.
saying hello. Okay, so as you all say hello, she says, "Oh, it's nice to see some new faces around here. Come on now. What are your names?" "I'm Granny. That's what the folks around here call me."
What's in her cart?
Looking along the cart, it seems to have a cloth blanket across the top.
Is she, does she look human to me?
Yeah, she looks like a human.
So I'm way older than her. All right.
Yes, potentially.
All right, weird flex, but
Okay.
I'm Aramil. The pleasure is
Rosalyn.
mine.
Pleased to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. And she kind of looks towards those of you who haven't given your names yet.
Oh, I'm Professor Goldspark.
Nice to meet you, Professor.
My name is
And,
Layson.
Layson. Lovely, lovely. And what about you, big lass?
Look,
Huh? And you there, hanging out of the back. She kind of peeks around towards you, Nerolos.
You said the people around here call you Granny. I don't see anything else.
Well, they'll all be inside, whiling away the hours, I guess. But they're around. Just gotta treat them kindly, is all.
So, Granny, where are we exactly?
Where are you? Oh, you're in Barovia, dear.
I
Slightly.
kind of look to the party and see if anyone recognizes that name.
I don't. And that's a problem.
Not from around here, are yous?
You could say that.
Have you ever heard of Baldur's Gate?
Can't say I have. No. What's it
Yeah,
like?
that's it.
Nice place?
It's a lot less rainy.
It can be a bit like that here sometimes. When there's a storm, it blows right through. It chills me to the bone. But anyway, what brought yous here? You don't seem to be from around Barovia, at least. Old Granny doesn't recognize you.
Would you believe us if we told you we fell out the sky?
Well,
And somehow survived.
would you believe old Granny if I told you that wasn't the first time I'd heard that?
Not?
No.
People have had this happen to them before?
Aye, the occasional lost soul comes flying through here. Some of them stay, others pass through quickly, and old Granny doesn't see them again, unfortunately.
What do you mean lost soul?
Well, people like yourself from far-off lands that something draws them towards the land here.
I'm going to look
You
to the
said
party and be like, are we dead?
Well, she hasn't
No,
heard
dearie,
of
you're not
Baldur's
dead.
Gate.
No, you're very much alive.
Now, you said
You
some of
said-
them stay here. Where do they stay? Because it's looking a
Well-
little empty.
Unfortunately, the people who pass through like yourselves, when I say stay, I mean, well, and she kind of nods towards a looming structure that you can just see coming out of the fog that looks to be a dilapidated chapel of some sort.
Oh,
says-
Oh,
They tend to-
unwillingly. Ah,
Yes, I'm afraid it's normally the case, but as long as you're wary and be on your guard and trust folk like myself, you'll be more than fine.
well, I guess the second question is, how do the others leave?
Oh, well, I'm not sure. They pass through here, and old Granny never sees them again. Whether they escape from these lands, I don't know.
How long ago
Um,
was the last person?
Oh, it's been quite some years since we've had any visitors to Barovia.
Wow.
And is there anyone here who might be an expert in things like these? We're kind of looking, well, I'm not trying to stay. My duties remain elsewhere.
Likewise.
An expert in what lost souls transported here, and
Well, I guess what
Pass to the wind.
you said some people have left, right? Do you know who they talk to about leaving?
no, they just head out into the wilds or other settlements and towns within Barovia.
There's more. Barovia is not the city.
No, well, this is the village of Barovia, but there are two settlements further down the road. Well, I say they're quite a ways down the road. It'll be a few days' travel to get to those.
Granny, do you know what's up with this fog?
Oh, it's this cursed weather. They say the devil Strahd's responsible for it, but, Whether
The
that's
who?
just talk.
The who?
The Devil Strahd.
Who's
Oh, yeah.
that?
Oh, dearies. You haven't heard of the one who rules these lands, I take it?
We're kind of
No.
new here.
Not from around here.
We may have just fallen from the sky a few hours ago.
Aye, you said that, aye. Well, the folk around here call him the Devil Strahd. He's ruled these lands for hundreds of years, and the poor common folk around here have suffered terribly under him. He is quite a violent being, and, well, dearies, it's a sad thing to say, but they say he's a vampire.
We all know what vampires are, right?
Yes. Through
So-
folklore, I would say mainly rather than anything concrete.
Yeah.
You said
Well, that sounds
hundreds
horrible.
of years, right?
Aye, long-lived are vampires, I'm afraid.
I had another question. We came across. I'm going to ask the party. May I show her the note?
Any information's better than this.
Do you
Go
have
ahead.
any idea what's going on in this? I'm going to show her the note.
Okay, you show her the note, and she kind of bring it a little bit closer, dearie. My eyes aren't what they used to be. And you hold it first right up to her face, and she kind of squints, and you can see her lips moving as she reads the note to herself before she says, "Oh, written by the Burgermeister." Aye, well,
Yeah.
I knew him, I'm afraid, but he passed a few nights ago. Not sure exactly how, but his home is further in the village, just down the road.
And his daughter still lives?
Aye, she does, aye. Last old granny heard.
Do you know her?
Can't say I've met her, no. I've heard of her, though.
Now, Granny, what is it that you do?
Well, I'm glad you've asked. I sell dream pies, or dream pastries to the folk around here. As you can tell, the lands around are dreary, and the poor folk have such a terrible life. I bake up these wonderful goods for them and sell them to the locals for a fair price. And it tends to give them sweet dreams and take them to other areas in their minds where they can hopefully forget about the terrible
I'm
thing.
gonna subtly point towards Loki just with my side hand and just message narcotics. That means drugs.
Right. Yeah. Mm.
Granny,
Sounds
what do you mean by takes them away from their troubles? What does that mean?
Well, their dreams, my dear. They have sweet dreams at nights when they go to bed. Helps them
And-
forget.
Is this through some sort of magical means? I'm well versed myself.
Aye, being honest with you, dearies, there is a wee bit of old magic in Granny. Aye, she can bake something into the pies that makes them a bit sweeter for the people.
Well, what sort of magic? I studied it myself, so
Once this magic discussion thing starts, I want to approach the closest home and kind of put my ear to the door and see if I can hear anything.
That would look so dodgy.
Yeah, we all just turn and look at him as he's just cased in a house.
What are you
Okay.
doing there, man?
So you put your ear to just one of the doors along the side of the road and listen out, but make a perception check if you'd like.
Can you not peeve off the locals, please?
I got 15.
Okay. Yeah, taking a good listen, you don't hear the sounds of any movement or talking or life behind the door.
But I still hear the crying coming from.
Yeah, that's still slowly echoing throughout.
Oh,
That's-
also,
That'll be the next question then.
yeah, that's the other thing. Well, I guess I have two. Is one, we haven't seen anybody on our way in. Is the village mostly abandoned?
Well, just people tend to stay inside, really. There's not much for them to do or enjoy. There is a tavern further down the road if you're interested in something to drink.
What
And
are you doing out?
But I sell my dream pies.
Selling her pies.
I tell you what, dearies, you've had a long journey, and you must be weary. Why don't I give you a pie for free? And she kind of pulls back the cloth, and as she does, there's a fair number of pies laid out across the top of the cart, and they all waft out towards your noses, and the smell is very enticing. The pies look well baked, and the pastry is crusty, and they look very, very good.
Sure, I'll take one.
I feel it'd be rude to not.
Well, it's just one pie, I'm afraid. You can you can buy a second, but they are 1 gold each. I'm afraid. Well, we have just regular meat pies. There's a maple nut pie. And we also have a hearty pie, more filled with vegetables, made up of the potato base.
Well, I might be cutting my own throat, but I'll take the meat pie.
Certainly, dearie. Certainly. She kind of wraps it up in just kind of a piece of cloth and hands it towards you. It feels quite heavy and filled.
Right.
Get it? Because you're small, it would be heavy.
Zing.
Why do I pay her?
Yeah.
Because I smash things really good.
I will. I will take. Is there a fruit flavor? I forget.
I said it's one pie for free to the small gentleman there. If you want another pie,
I don't mind buying. I would like to pay.
All right, okay. Well, we don't have a fruit one. We've got there's the maple nut pie, which has got nuts and it's a little bit sweeter. You would like that one?
Yeah, I'll try that one.
Okay,
for a
so
gold
she
piece.
Wraps up the pie for you and hands it to you after you hand the gold piece towards her.
Let me check a spell. One second.
Well, Granny, you've been very helpful to us. Because at least I have one last question. Kind of the elephant in the room. What's that crying sound?
Oh, don't mind Mad Mary. It's a wee bit got a screw or two loose in her head. She's been crying for weeks now.
About what?
Oh, I don't know. Granny doesn't like to gossip, my dears.
You literally
Very
just
nice.
gossiped about everything in the town. I don't know about
Oh,
that.
hush now, you know.
Very nice of the townsfolk to not help her.
You'll find that with most of the folk around these parts. They try their best to not draw attention and keep to themselves.
Doesn't sound like much of a community.
Why?
Well,
They do have a tyrannical ruler, I would imagine.
there's that. They don't really like to, as I say, draw attention to themselves. Anyone who helps potentially draws attention.
I'm gonna ask you, I'll say, where'd you learn to make these pies?
It's an old family recipe.
Did you eat the piece?
No.
He just passes out.
Just checking.
They're just nice pies. I don't see what the issue is.
So,
Craig, if you ever give me your meat dream pie, I'm not just gonna take a bite, okay?
If he happens to look at me after asking that, I'm like, I am not trying that pie for you. That's where we cross the line.
I have other
Not your
plans.
guinea
with it.
pig. No.
Granny, you said that there's a place we can get a drink around here?
Aye, the Blood of the Vine Tavern. It's just further down the road.
All
Might be
right,
worth a
well,
stop.
I guess we head there.
one last thing. So this Devil Strahd, does he visit the town?
He's been known to, on occasion, pass through, but the smarter folk will stay inside when that happens and guard their doors well.
Right.
What does he-
So
what does he
why
look-
don't they just live normally until he comes to town?
Well, there's not a lot of happiness because of the rule, I'm afraid, and the land here seemingly is dead and dying, and while all manner of evil creatures stalk the woods and the land around.
What's the
Why not
reason
just
to
move
stay
on?
there?
Yeah.
Why stay?
Well, there is seemingly no escape from Barovia.
That's great.
So
That's very sad.
what would you estimate the population of this town to be?
Oh, 200 or so folks, I'd say.
And that of the other two towns?
Oh, I'm not sure. Old Granny hasn't visited them in a wee while now.
Ballpark.
don't know.
Regardless, why haven't you risen up? You said this was one man, correct? Well,
Hush,
one
hush
vampire.
now. As you say, right? She looks at you very seriously and says, "Hush now. There'll be none of that. The people here have tried several times, and every time has ended in failure. Don't go spouting off and getting anyone's hopes up about rising up. The best thing is to get on with what life you can, and make do with what you're given."
This is no life at all.
Did you fall from the sky, Granny?
No, I was born in Barovia.
It looks
Worth
like
a
you've
shot.
done an awfully good job surviving here.
Ah, well, just resourceful, I guess.
Yeah, it would seem it.
Well, you've been a great help to us. Nodding when I say it's much appreciated. You're the first other living being we've seen so far that hasn't attacked us or hid from us.
Thank you.
Well, you're very welcome, dearies. And I pass through the town most mornings and afternoons selling the dream pies. So if you do happen to want more, you'll know where to find me. And she kind of smiles as she takes the handle for cart and begins to slowly push it away. And she kind of whistles quietly to herself as she does.
Huh.
Let's go get a drink.
Optimistic.
Yeah, while we're walking to the tavern, I would like to ritually cast Detect the Fuck Out of Magic on that pie.
Okay.
Alright.
Sure. So just because I'll probably forget, we'll just say that it happens now. There is a faint aura of magic surrounding the pie in some regard. But,
Can I tell what school of magic it is?
I don't think this adheres to a school at the very least.
The
It's just-
School of Deliciousness.
Yes.
The grandmother
Yeah.
magic of cooking.
Yeah, it's ancient grandma magic.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's the school. The school of grandma magic.
All right.
So you guys are moving further along, and are you going towards the tavern? Is that
Yeah.
correct? Okay, so
The
I will
blood,
say as you-
blood of the vine.
the Blood of the Vine Tavern, yeah. So as you guys are walking along the cobbled streets, just before you get to the Blood of the Vine Tavern, you can see there's a small looking structure with a sign hanging above it that says Wildrith's Merchantile. And the sign kind of creaks and swings back in the wind, but you guys just passing on.
Do we still see no people?
Was that the creaky noise that...
And that was the creaky noise that you heard originally was the squeak of Granny's cart.
Cart,
But this sign is
Craig,
kind of...
sorry to be a pain. I realized that I should have actually cast Identify on it. Because that tells me what it does.
Does that tell you exactly what it does?
I'll read it to you. It says, you choose one object that you must touch throughout the casting of the spell. If it is a magic item or some other magic-imbued object, you learn its properties and how to use them, whether it requires attunement, and how many charges it has.
How to use this pie.
You learn whether any spells are affecting the item and what they are. If the item was created by a spell, you learn which spell created it, blah, 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 blah.
Okay. I guess that's more for like a magic item. It doesn't really... how would
It's
that
a
work?
magic-imbued object.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So if you were to take or eat the pie in its entirety, you would have to succeed on a DC 16 Constitution saving throw, or you fall into a trance that lasts for 1d4 plus 4 hours, and during which time you are incapacitated and have a speed of 0.
Sorry, man.
The trance ends if the affected creature takes any damage or someone else uses an action to shake them out of their stupor. But whilst in the trance, the creature dreams of being in some joyous place, far removed from the evils of the world.
I
That
knew
sounds
Granny
like a
couldn't have
good
been
pie.
better.
Sounds like actually a nice pie.
Yeah.
Nice pie.
It's a big. how big
But
is
one thing I will say is, once it ends, you have a longing to return to this place.
Mm.
'Cause it seems so real.
Crack cocaine pies.
Yes,
Yeah.
they are something.
It's a
like
culinary revolution.
Oh my god.
Does Godfrey say that to all of us, or is
No.
he the only one that knows that right now?
I will
Okay.
simply look at you, because you bought the other one, right, Aramil?
Yeah.
I will look at you and just go, don't eat the pie.
Really? I thought she was quite nice.
She's a powerful mage, is what she is. Anything else, I don't think we can say for sure.
Well, you're the expert, so I will just stow this pie away for now.
Yeah, I'll wrap my pie up and stick it in my bag.
Just
Okay.
shove it.
All right, stow in the pie.
Just in a pocket.
You never know, you might want to eat it sometime. Okay.
Pie.
When
Yes.
when everyone else is dying, I'll just.
You've got to eat all the pie, all
Happy
the pie.
place. Happy place.
Yeah.
Okay.
We happy few.
So eventually you arrive outside the tavern, which is just kind of facing out onto what seems to be the main square of the village of Barovia. The sign above it kind of swings, and it reads Blood Off the Vine Tavern. Are you guys wanting to head in?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Give me a moment. Okay. So once you guys step through, you enter into what seems to be once fine tavern that has clearly grown shoddy over the years. There are numerous tables and benches laid out, as well as the stairs leading upwards. A blazing fire in the hearth gives off scant warmth to the few huddled souls within. They include a short, pudgy-looking barkeep behind the bar, 3 brightly dressed women sitting together and talking, and a blonde-haired man nursing a drink at the table. And as you guys enter, the figure in blonde hair looks up and his eyes widen and he says, "Hello, new in town?"
Yes, we are.
Can I buy you a drink?
Sure.
Please."
I didn't know that's how this worked, but sure.
And he kind of holds up his hand and he calls out, "Eric, how many are you? 6 wines,
6.
please."
I look at Rosalyn and I go, do paladins even drink?
Do you have any non-alcoholic options? Grape juice, not fermented.
There might be water, but make one a water as well, Eric.
Thank you.
The kind of small, pudgy-looking figure behind the bar slowly nods and seemingly begins to prepare drinks. And the figure by the table kind of looks at you all and smiles and says, "Please sit down. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Ismark Kolyanovich, commonly called Ismark the Lesser by some of the people in the town. But it's nice to see some new faces."
Kolyanovich, you say?
Yes.
Rings a bell.
We met
I
him.
am.
Not the same one.
Not the
Not the
same.
same. Just check.
No, I had to double check.
I'm Aramil.
Nice to meet you, Aramil.
Rosalind?
I'll shake his hand.
Okay, so I assume you all. Does anyone not want to introduce themselves so we can avoid this?
No, I'll
shaking?
introduce myself.
Okay, all right, okay. So yeah, you all say hello, sit down, and he says, "New faces in Barovia. I must say, I'm glad to see you all. I have a proposition for you if you're interested."
Proposition, you just met us.
Yeah.
Hey, if it gets us out of this place, I think it's reasonable.
That's a fair
I
counterpoint.
don't know if it does though.
Well,
What is
let-
the proposition?
Well, maybe we should let him explain, guys.
Let me be honest and say that in Barovia we don't tend to get new people, and I'm desperate. It's my sister, Irina. That creature, Strahd. He's become infatuated with her in some way.
Ah. Craig, you got his surname wrong to begin.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, you said Kolyanovich is in Durovich.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Oh,
sorry.
Oh, it is the same person.
Yeah.
It is
Oh,
the same. All right.
sorry. There's so many.
I
bitches.
also had to check the note.
My bad.
Son of a
Yes.
bitch.
Yes,
Bloody
it is.
Slavic
Sorry.
culture. How dare
Sorry.
you?
I do apologize.
Okay, wait. Can you say his name one more time, just for clarity?
Wait, what? Why she is it? Because it says Kolyanovich in my notes.
It's Kolyan in Durovich.
Yeah,
In
that's the
Durovich.
name. That's the burgomaster.
the Robert.
Unbelievable. Campaign's cancelled.
All
Bruno,
right.
he's back.
Yeah, found your dog.
Who's your good pupper?
Okay. So he says, "It's my sister. She's drawn his attention, and I need your help. Get her out of this village. Take her away from his foul gaze and grasp, and I'll be most grateful."
I'm not sure he sounds like somebody we want to be attracting the gaze of.
There's a couple flaws with your plan, I think.
Well, how did your sister even get his attention? We were told that if you kept your head down, he didn't pay people any heed.
Well, I can't say what it is about Irina that drew him, but he's He's interested in her for some reason.
What do you mean take her away? The only person I've ever talked to said that there's no escape from this place.
Well, not away from Barovia, but at least away from the shadow of the castle. That's where he lives. His presence is felt very closely by us in the village here.
What's to stop him from just,
Finding her.
getting her in the next place?
Well, it's a matter of distance. Strahd lives in that castle. At the very least, he will not know where she is.
I have a question. If this information we've come by is to be believed, your sister is dying, correct?
Oh boy.
I don't know if she is dying, but she has become afflicted, I guess, with something foul.
I'm gonna show him the note,
I was gonna say I would be surprised if he knew that we knew that.
and I would say, so I assume your father was the one who just recently passed.
Yes, a few nights passed. The poor old soul. And do you say you're showing him the note as well?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, he kind of looks through it and he says, yes, that was written by my father.
So
And at this point, I would say Arik has returned with a tray of drinks that he silently plops down onto the table before moving away silently.
How did your father die?
The poor old soul's heart gave out. The past few weeks, at least, our house has been besieged by all manner of foul creatures, and I guess the stress of it, the old soul just couldn't take it anymore.
If you don't...
Does that make you the new Burgermeister?
I don't know.
How... I mean, you're buying us drinks and you're willing to pay us for doing this. How do you make money here? Yeah, how do you even cut a living here? I mean, we were told that the land is dead. What do you sell? I'm confused.
The villagers trade between each others occasionally, but sometimes trinkets are brought in by the Vistani. Things they sell and things they buy from us. And wine, the Vistani. And he kind of nods towards the three brightly dressed women that are sitting at a table in the tavern.
And they are from...
They can leave Barovia?
Seemingly.
Well, there's our ticket out.
They sound like fascinating people.
I want to go talk to them.
I will say, I wouldn't in good conscience feel right leaving your sister here. I mean, if we're trying to get us out, we could bring you two as well.
Well, I mean, leaving Barovia isn't something that has ever occurred to me. I don't know if there is a way out. And as for those spies, and he kind of skulls towards the Vistani, he says, you don't want to trust them.
Why?
They work for him.
Oh, so we shouldn't really be having this conversation. At least not at the current volume.
So, never mind. Ticket pending.
Well, listen, your sister, where is she, if you want us to take her?
She's in the mansion. It's in the village. I can take us there.
But you said that she's deathly sick.
Well, she's not bedridden.
If she's not bedridden, why doesn't she leave?
Well, she's a one person traveling through the lands. She will not survive the roads. But with a group like yourself escorting her, I believe there is a chance, and it's a risk I think we have to take.
I'm willing to help. I mean, if you have a place where we can stay out of this and avoid attention, I wouldn't in good faith leave you stranded.
I agree. We must
I
bring
will
hope.
help as I can, yeah.
Well, we gotta
Keep
help,
it-
and it seems like our only lead.
Okay, so as you...
Just-
sorry, go ahead, Lookin.
I was gonna say, just keep in mind, guys, if we do this, most likely if Strahd finds out, he's gonna come after us.
I'm pretty sure he'll find out about 6 people that fell from the sky.
I'm pretty sure, yeah, he knows we're here already. Those wolves were acting strange.
Right, but we haven't
Yeah.
given him reason to get pissed off at us yet. If we steal his muse, I'm just saying, he's probably not gonna appreciate that. But
That's a
Well,
fair
he sounds
point.
like a bit of a d-bag anyway, so
What is it with
Ooh,
megalomaniacs
I-
and muses?
don't know.
I wouldn't say that from what Granny said. We probably shouldn't insult him.
I'm
Well,
not
I guess we
insulting
are
him.
gonna.
I'm just giving you guys the
No,
reality.
I was talking to Rosalyn.
No.
Granny
Hey,
got
The guy's name
really
is Ismark,
concerned.
right?
Yeah, there's spice
Ismark,
over there.
yes.
Yeah, after I'd say to Ismark, I'd be like, so Ismark, speaking of that, what do you know about Granny?
She just seems to be a kindly old woman, I guess.
She doesn't exactly fit the, well, no offense, but fit the mood, does she?
No, I'm not sure exactly what drives her, but I stay out of her way at least. I've seen what her pies can do to people. Addicted. Did you meet her?
Yeah.
Did you eat one of her pies? And he kind of reaches towards you, Godfrey, with his hand.
No, I didn't. I'll bat away the hand. Like,
what?
but I do have one here, actually.
Don't eat the pies.
Oh, I'm fully aware of what the pies will do, I say, realizing the party doesn't know yet. I'll just say that anyway.
Wait, you know what these pies do? What do they
I
do?
might have had a little bit of a look into them, yeah. They're, well, she wasn't lying. They will put you in a stupor, but yeah, they have some powerfully addictive qualities.
Good way to do business, I guess.
Well, yeah.
She
Coming back
does.
to
I knew there was something off about her.
I mean, she didn't lie. She should
That's
have
very
told us that
insightful
these
of you, Nirlos.
I mean, I don't know many drug dealers, but the
Straight
ones
as
I
told us.
do aren't grannies.
Just
Well,
found a gap in the market, that's all.
to be honest, I'll lean into Craig. Can you remind me his name? I forgot.
Ismark. Ismark the Last.
Ismark. Okay, I'll lean into Ismark and I'll say, if what we've gathered so far is true, from not only you but also Granny, is that Strahd seems to have ears all over the place. If we're gonna talk about something like this, I'd rather get off the streets.
Yes, shall we return to the mansion? It's the safest place I guess there is in the village.
Anywhere that leads to not here. Let's do it.
Sounds good.
Let's go. And
Hang on, let me down my drink. I just figured chug her and then.
okay, so I will say you
My
guys
lord.
have the what I will say Rosalyn, I have to look at your name there. The water has that taste that when you leave water out all day, it has that kind of
Oh,
really
yeah.
dull, metallic almost taste. It tastes like that. The wine, however, is not bad. It's potent and strong and has a slightly fruity taste to it.
I wouldn't know.
Did
I
you-
cast prestidigitation on it and made it taste like the best juice in the world. Apple juice.
That's some Justin deep lore we're getting. Anyway, okay, so you down your drinks and begin to make your way back out into the streets, and Ismark begins to lead you further down the road. And again, you can still hear the low sobbing echoing throughout until eventually you guys arrive on the outskirts of what looks to be a very weary-looking mansion, squatting behind a rusting iron fence. The iron gates are twisted and torn off. The right gate lies cast aside while the left swings lazily in the wind. The stuttering squeal and clang of the gates repeats with almost mindless precision. Weeds choke the grounds and press with menace upon the house itself. Yet, against the walls, the growth has been tramped down to create a path all about the domain. You can see heavy claw marks have stripped the once beautiful finish of the walls, and great black marks tell of fires that have assailed the mansion. Not a pane nor shard of glass stands in any window. All the windows are barred with planks, and each one is marked with the stains of evil omen.
That's a quaint place.
Yeah, it's fallen on disrepair these past few weeks with the attacks, but
Seems
seemingly
like most of the town has.
Attacks?
yes, I mentioned that the mansion being attacked that's what killed my father.
Right,
See-
but
You said
this
it's
is
hot,
this is
babe.
quite bad. I didn't realize it was this bad.
It's
Is this a fire mark?
yes, they've set fires to try and force us out.
They? Who's they?
Wait, who are these people?
The creatures that are sent after us.
How often do they come by?
They used to come by at least every night, but as I said, since the passing of my father, seemingly stopped.
Must have pissed off someone or something.
That is interesting.
That is very ominous.
Yeah, let's piss off stuff. Great idea.
That's what I was thinking.
I kind of see a little snark.
Okay, so you guys just walking up to the door.
Yeah, I'd be following at the back, I guess.
Okay. So as you guys approach, Ismark just raises his hand and just doom, doom, doom against the door, and he calls out, "Irina, I've returned with help." And kind of looks back at all of you standing behind him, and a small amount of time passes before you hear the sounds of bolts being drawn back, of a key turning on a lock, and the door slightly opens a crack, and you can see a wisp of kind of dark auburn hair just covering a single eye that kind of peeks out as she kind of looks towards all of you, and she says, "Brother, who are these people? Who have you brought us?" These are our new friends, Irina. They're going to help you." And at this, she kind of pulls open the door towards and revealing the interior of the mansion. And you can see she's quite a striking looking woman. She has kind of this dark auburn hair that's long and frames her face. And she's wearing this ankle length, almost blood red coat with white braiding along the edges and a high collar. Her skin looks very pale and dark circles ring her eyes. And you see the interior, there's no dog. The interior of the mansion is well furnished. Yet the fixtures show signs of great wear. Noticeable oddities are the boarded up windows and the presence of holy symbols seemingly in every room. And as you guys step in and look into a side drawing room, you can see there is a simple wooden coffin surrounded by wilting flowers, and there's a faint odor of decay. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you first.
Well, I was going to say, as you enter, Irina looks at you all and says, "And who are these people?" And then Ismark kind of quietly gestures towards all of you, and I assume you all introduce yourselves.
Yeah.
Yep.
By adding, "We're from the sky."
Well, a strange land, she kind of mutters to herself before she turns back to all of you and says, "Well, are you following through with my brother's plan to escort me to Valaki?"
Wait, a few questions for you, if you don't mind.
Please.
So, do you know exactly what's going on between you and Strahd? Why is he after you?
And then she kind of puts her head down and kind of rubs her hand across her forehead and says, "My memories of that monster fuzzy at best. I can only recall the blazing hunger in his eyes."
Is she telling the truth?
Make an insight check, I guess.
What is your dag doing?
I don't know. She's throwing shit. 10.
10. You can't really tell if she's telling the truth or lying.
Okay. You don't remember anything at all?
Nothing from the encounters.
How many times has he encountered you?
This her kind of her skin goes even paler and her eyes look to the floor and she says, "Twice now. Twice he's visited."
I know it might be hard, but what did he do?
As I said, I I don't remember.
Your father mentioned a wound?
And as she kind of sighs and pulls back the collar of her jacket, and you can see there's 2 red puncture marks on her neck. She kind of covers it back up.
Hey, Craig, would our characters know what happens when you get bitten by a vampire?
Well, you, I will say that I'm not sure exactly how the world of D&D works, in the sense that is the rumor of, or the kind of mystical tales of vampires that if you get bitten by a vampire, you turn into a vampire. But I would say you probably don't know that that's the case.
I mean, out of all of us,
I was going to say, I don't even know if it is the case if you are merely bitten by a vampire in D&D that you turn into a vampire. I think there's more to it than that. But I'm not
there is.
Yeah. So.
Okay, so it's not like she's going to go on us straight away.
No, I would say none of you would think she's going to turn into a vampire because she's been bitten. Is the simple way I'll put it.
All right, cool.
Because that's essentially what you're asking. But yeah, sorry. Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, we don't mean to grill you right away. We just want to, get a better idea of what we're dealing with.
Understandable in these conditions.
Are you happy to leave? If we escort you somewhere else away from here?
Well, before we leave, I have a request. Our father, and she kind of nods towards the coffin in the side room. He's yet to be buried, and he's been laid out for 3 days now. Before I accompany you anywhere, I would ask if you could bury him in the cemetery. If we could pay our final respects to him, then I'd be ready to leave and move on.
That seems perfectly reasonable to me.
The only thing you have in this world is your family.
We'll assist you.
And my dog, wherever he is, man.
Who knows?
All right.
So yeah, Ismark kind of... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, okay, well then, I'm not just going to walk over and pick up the coffin with whoever the other biggest people are. Okay.
Are we doing it now?
Well, the coffin is open. Okay. But you can see the lid of it is off to one side, and there's a group of nails, and as you go to reach towards it, Ismark kind of, hold on, let me fix the lid first before we carry my father through the village. And he kind of takes the lid and places it on the top, and he begins to hammer into the nails into the coffin. So is there anything you guys would like to do as this has been done?
I'll just say to the group, or I guess I'll just say to you, Craig, obviously there's no sunset that I can use as a point of reference, but would anything in my ranger training give me a rough idea of how long I've been awake?
Let's see. You've been awake for a good while now. You are getting a little bit weary, but I would say, in a mechanic sense, you're a little bit off a point of exhaustion or anything like that. You can go a little bit longer, essentially, is what I'm saying.
Do we maybe want to see your father buried and then leave after a rest?
I would say we stay here, the night, basically get a rest out and then go off, because we if we're gonna do this, we might as well be at full capacity when we do this.
So
and we don't want to be moving at night.
Yeah, that's my thought is maybe we do it all at once too. We don't want to bury her father and then maybe have somebody notice that we buried her father.
I'll say to the group, be like, well, it seems like there might be a little bit of a risk with burying her father, otherwise they probably would have done it already. Bit of a strange thing to ask strangers, right?
As you begin to say, she says, well, the problem is we've asked the folk to help us carry the coffin.
She's a sickly woman. She can't pick up the coffin. That's probably why.
Yeah. But none of them are brave enough to help. I'm tainted. If they help me, then who knows what Strahd might do to them.
Huh.
They're all cowards. We'll help you.
I think they're all horribly oppressed is more accurate.
Yes, I don't think we should be blaming the victims here.
Not everyone is a paladin in plate armor.
I would say we
Peace.
bury them. I would say we bury them tonight and then move out in the morning. Because if we do this in the morning, we're gonna be A, wasting time, and B, tiring ourselves out before it
Well,
wreck.
I mean, I don't care enough to argue on it. I don't know if carrying the coffin for 10 minutes will really delay us that much. But sure, we can do whatever. There's
We
not
gotta-
really a night or
we gotta
day right
bury it.
now.
All right. Well,
So-
Buried things before. We'll be fine.
As you guys as you guys are finished talking, Ismark has sort of finished hammering in the nails in the coffin. He kind of bursts himself off and stands up and lets out a sigh. And you can see Irina's moved off further into the chamber, the side room, and affixed to one of the mantelpieces, or sorry, the mantelpiece. It's not a room of mantelpieces. Above the mantelpiece is a old rusted-looking breastplate that she solemnly takes down and straps upon herself. And then there's a old-looking sword that she pulls off the wall as well that she takes down and straps around her waist. And she turns and gives you all kind of a solemn nod and says, "Well, if you'd like to carry the coffin, we'll pay our final respects."
Sure. 2 on each side, 3 on each side.
Okay. So Ismark kind of holds up a side, because there are small little pale ropes affixed to the edges, so you can easily carry it.
I'm
I
afraid
kind of
I
point
might
to
be a
Godfrey.
little
I'm
small.
like, I don't think he's gonna be helping much.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, don't worry.
I'd say
I'll carry for him.
I'll
How's
summon
that?
a mage hand to hold one of the ropes.
Okay, sure. Okay. All right. So
I was
was
just gonna
it
take
Lokai?
a rope.
Lokai, Aramil, Mage Hand, and Ismark. Okay, so that's enough. So you guys all lift up the coffin, and it feels, there is a body inside it, but there doesn't seem to be a great deal of weight to it. You get the sense that the Burgomaster might have been a little thinner around the time of his death. But anyway, you pick up the coffin and slowly begin to, in a solemn procession, make your way through the town, with Irina leading you all towards the church that you saw kind of piercing through the fog on the other side of the town. So as you guys are walking, is there anything like to say? Ismark and Irina are pretty quiet. You can see kind of Ismark looks to be weeping quietly to himself as he is escorting the body.
I will just kind of sit to Rosalyn quietly. Paladin I once served with used to do some kind of sacrament or prayer after we buried men. Maybe something like that. Send him on his way.
I can do that, definitely. I'd be happy to.
As you're talking about that, eventually you guys arrive outside the church. It's atop a slight rise on the edge of the village, and it stands as a sort of grey and sagging edifice of stone and wood. This church has obviously weathered the assaults of evils, as well as the mansion, for centuries on end, and it looks very worn and weary. A bell tower rises towards the back, and flickering light shines through holes in the shingled roof. The rafters strain feebly against their load. And are you guys approaching the front of the church, or... actually, as you do approach, I should say, Irina says, "We should speak to Donovich, the priest who lives here. He will pay the final rites for our father."
Lead the
So
way.
she begins to lead you up towards the front door of the church, and as you guys get closer, you can see the heavy wooden doors are covered with more claw
Well,
marks.
as we were on the way there,
Mhm.
I would like to say to Irina, sorry if this is disrespectful, but what god do you worship here?
The Morning Lord.
I don't know what that is.
No, I would say if any of you ever heard that, you wouldn't recognize the name of that god or deity.
We're a long way from home.
I ain't Kansas anymore.
I was gonna beat me to it.
Where's Kansas?
So Irina opens the doors of the church, and it reveals this 10-foot wide, 20-foot long hall that leads towards this brightly lit chapel. The hall itself is unlit, and it reeks of mildew as you pass through. There are 4 doors to each side of the corridor, seemingly leading into adjacent chambers, but you can see that the chapel itself is strewn with debris, and you hear a soft voice from within reciting a prayer. But all of a sudden, the prayer is blotted out by an inhuman scream that rises up from beneath the floor, and for a brief moment the prayer cuts short, and Irina and Ismark kind of seemingly shiver slightly before they continue walking.
What? What was that?
Ismark kind of turns to you and says, Doru,
Who?
the less you know, the better.
Oh, I strongly disagree with that.
Yeah.
If we're going to be helping you, you're going to be telling us everything.
Okay. You can make a persuasion check for this one, Godfrey.
All right.
Persuasive 3-foot gnome.
Listen.
He's got a scary half orc with him.
I've never played a character that had a persuasion bonus lower than 3.
Well, I am playing one that does right now, so let's go. Okay. Unnatural 20. 19 plus 1. There you go.
Hey, can you remind me of what you specifically asked him there?
When he said the less you know, the better, I basically disagreed with him and said, tell us.
Okay, sure. Okay, he says, Donovich's son. A lost soul. He's kept beneath the chapel.
Now
What do you
that's
mean,
interesting.
What? He's a lost soul.
Is he mad or something? What's his deal?
Ismark kind of rubs his head and says, no, Doru's not mad. He is just far from humanity.
What is wrong
Can
with
you
this
speak to him, or?
Is
You
he a
can
beast?
You can try.
Do we have to worry about him?
You're very bad, good people.
Well, does he talk back, or?
You will not be able to hold a conversation with him if that's what you're asking, but...
Oh, believe me, I hold conversations with Loki. I can hold a conversation with anything.
I don't know you guys, but that seems rude.
Oh, don't worry.
It's okay, I can hold him in my hand.
Add the conversation.
So as you guys are talking, you can see Arena's kind of moved a little bit further along. She's talking to this priest who was kind of kneeling down and reciting a prayer, and she's talking to him in kind of a low tone as you guys enter, and you can see he's kind of slightly pudgier looking fellow. He's kind of a slight double chin, and he has thinning hair that's going to kind of grey at the edges. He wears this kind of long grey robe with kind of this golden sunburst sewn into it, and he looks at you all as you enter, and he says, your father passed then, Ismark, eh? Bad business, that. Unlucky. Bring him in then. Bring him in.
Now that's a practical priest.
Yeah.
Let's bring it in.
A bit of respect, father. A bit of respect.
Respect's long gone from these lands, son. You're not going to find any of that here. Bye. Lay him up alongside the altar. And he kind of breathes heavily as you... I assume you kind of take the coffin behind the altar, and he says, so, last rites for the old Burgermeister, eh? Well, when we plan on holding that? And he kind of turns towards Irene, and she says, within the hour, if you permit it, Donovich. And he says, I suppose I can free up my schedule. Not a lot else going on here. And he kind of, you can see there, I would say you all kind of notice there's seemingly almost an act that he's putting on here. There's seemingly not something quite right with him. And he kind of claps Ismark on the shoulder and says, anyway, old Doru, don't mind him. Ismark kind of nods, but he turns to the rest of you after he said that. Do any of you say anything, or do you want just kind of...
No, I just gotta wait for him to...
Stunned silence.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not down. I'm not touching that.
Anyway, Ismark, if you'd like to join me outside, we'll go ahead and dig the grave. The rest of you, why don't you enjoy the peace of the church for a little bit, and then we'll call you when the grave is dug, and we'll begin.
Is it just two of them?
I'd be more than happy to help dig or stand watch.
Okay, so you all want to move outside, or are you all going outside, or are any
No,
staying
I'm
inside?
staying inside.
Okay.
I'm staying inside because I am not strong.
Okay, so who is going outside?
I'm staying inside.
Is it just Aramil?
I'm
I'll go
staying with
help
Loki,
dig.
yeah.
Aramil and Rosalyn. Okay, so as you
Thank
guys
you,
say,
Rosalyn.
Donovan says, "Oh, lovely to have more help around the place. Maybe you can help me fix the windows."
Maybe.
And as he kind of
If time permits.
He goes into one of the side chambers and he comes back with a number of shovels that he kind of hands out to you, and he kind of puts one across his back. And as he begins to move out, you hear a voice call out again from beneath the chapel that says, "Father, I'm starving!" And at that, Zarovich kind of stops. He shakes his head and just keeps on walking.
While that's happening, obviously we can hear it from inside the chapel.
Yeah, it
as well.
reverberates around the chapel. It is.
I look at Godfrey and I'm like, "You thinking what I'm thinking?"
Well, I don't know.
I know you're curious mind.
I want to have a look.
I know you do.
I really want to have a look.
Your two like lawful good members step outside. The whole thing just goes.
You know
to
what
shit.
I'm like when it comes to exploring weird underneath buildings.
No, all right.
Well,
do I
we'll
see,
dig slowly for you.
do I see any like sort of like way to get down under the chapel?
So there's 4 chambers, and I will say, just in the interest of speed, one of there's 4 doors along the kind of corridor. Seemingly the back left from you leads to where that voice may have been coming from. And at this point, Zarovich and Ismark have begun to move out to dig the grave alongside Rosalyn and.
Yeah, once they're clear and like gone outside, can I go up to the door and see if it opens?
Okay. Yeah, sure. Are you going alone, or I know?
No, I'd follow along behind.
Oh, Godfrey's coming with me.
I'm coming too.
You're coming as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so and Layson as well. Okay. Irina stays by the altar and she kneels down and seemingly in prayer or in thought.
Don't mind us.
Yes, but you guys go towards the door and it opens. And give me a moment.
Hey, Layson, I think you maybe should stay up here. Comfort the poor girl. You're some sort of fancy performer.
I'm a performer. I don't write eulogies.
You seem to know some healing magic. You could,
Well, I don't know if I can heal whatever's wrong with her. I don't even know where I am.
Well, if you're a person who's been on the spotlight before, I'm sure you have some sort of communication skills.
It's called a script.
She looks to be a little busy, mourning her father and such. We
All right.
probably just let her have her moment.
I was just thinking. All right.
Okay, so you guys are opening the door to this room, yeah?
Sure I am.
Okay, so time and neglect have punched holes in the ceilings of this moldy room, which contains a few broken shingles amid puddles of water. In one corner, at the end of the floor, is a heavy wooden trapdoor held shut with a chain and padlock, and a young man's screams of anguish can be heard through the door. And occasionally, the trapdoor rocks, what you can assume to be the pounding.
Goodness.
Dear God, is this really how they keep family?
well,
I'm so confused.
We don't know where we
what it
are, right?
He
is.
did say that he was far from human.
This is a
Or
weird
something
place.
along those lines.
yeah, I mean, he might be dangerous. We should
Yeah,
go
I'm
have a
trying to
look.
So what are you going to do? Are you going to peek closely at the trapdoor?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it liftable?
No, well, there's this kind of thick chain that's all the way around it and through the kind of handle of the trapdoor with a padlock.
Is there like slats or anything that I can see through? Like,
Not really. The wood looks like it's swollen slightly from all the kind of dampness in the room. You can't really peek through the gaps,
all right, and it's locked.
seemingly.
I would go back upstairs at this point.
Yeah. Oh, let me help Lookin there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll cut to what happening with you guys in a
It's
moment.
fine. We'll just
No,
keep
I'm just joking. Just good.
I look at Godfrey.
digging the hole.
What do you think?
Well, I feel like it might be a little rude to our hosts if we just smash into it, but I don't know.
Okay, as you guys have been talking for a little bit, suddenly the trapdoor rocks and you can hear it's pounding on it, and you hear a voice plead out, "Please! I'm so hungry!"
Well, he seems to talk. Maybe we should talk back.
Give her a go.
All right, I'll lean down
You
to the
have the
trapdoor and be like,
silver tongue.
well, I do, thank you. I'll lean down and be like, hey, How's it going down there, buddy?
At this point, you can hear kind of a, I can smell your blood.
Right, let's go back.
Layson is out.
I don't know what I expected, but it was better than that.
Oh boy.
As he kind of backs up, I go, "Why are you down there?"
Please, the hunger.
Oh, he's not hungry for food. I think he's hungry for people food.
There doesn't seem to be any coherent response to what you say. I will say, look, either just the occasional scream and yell and pound on the trapdoor, but whatever is down there seemingly can't hold a regular conversation like civilized folk.
Well, we'll ask the others once they get back. I don't know if we should release this thing.
Yeah, I don't think we should do that.
Hmm.
I could feed him the pie, but that seems like it wouldn't really serve any good purpose.
I don't know, feed him the pie. Let's see what happens.
If he'll eat the pie.
I mean, the DM said that, so I don't want to do it.
Okay, so we'll cut back to the Rosalyn and Aramil who have joined Donovich and Ismark as they begin to find a clear spot. You get led into this kind of simple cemetery where you can see there's a number of headstones that have long crumbled and fallen into poor repair. The grass is overgrown and there's no fresh flowers laid out for any of the deceased here. It seems to be a place that very few, if any, people frequent. And as you do, Donovich kind of points to like a clear spot and says, "Will that do, Ismark? Final resting place for your father? Looks like a fine spot, eh?" And Ismark just kind of, that will do. And he kind of, Ismark kind of turns back to Aramil and Rosalyn, and he kind of grins, and kind of almost like a rictus grin, you know, where it's like a cringe almost. But yeah, Donovich leads you over and he begins to dig into the ground, and Ismark goes over and helps. And I assume you guys are as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And is there anything you guys would like to do whilst the digging is happening, or just dig the grave? And
I don't think I want to talk to them. This priest gives me the creeps. Just gonna dig.
I would say to the priest at one point, I would say, "Do you know what afflicts these lands, Father?"
Aye, the devil's Strahd, but just put it out of your mind and get on with your day. You don't have to think about it, and it's no there.
Is that how you cope?
That's how I get on with it. Aye, let's just dig this grave. Please.
All right.
Just shut up and do-
As you wish.
Okay.
And I'll continue digging.
Okay. And as you guys are continuing digging, and Donovich is occasionally looking up, and the castle that's above you on this kind of sheer cliff, almost seems to loom over you as you dig and cast its shadow across you, and you feel the occasional chill run through your blood until eventually a sizable hole is dug, and Donovich sighs happily and says, "This will do nicely. This will do nicely. Why don't you go and get the body, and we'll pay our final respects." And he says that to you, Aramil, and Rosalyn.
Okay. We'll go back to the church.
Okay. So you guys return, and eventually you arrive back, and I assume all of you are in the chapel. Is anyone doing anything specifically, or are you just going to,
Bet you two look guilty as sin.
Yeah, that's actually what I was going to ask, because when I come back, what's everyone else doing?
Yeah.
I would just
They're
be
just
sitting
sitting, chilling.
Not to be
Hanging
not to be DM master of the rules, but Lookin did not say she closed the door, so you do notice that one of the side doors that lead into a room with a trap door is open. So
Oops.
I would say, in the interest of fairness, do you think my character's perception is high enough to know that door was
Yeah, I would
closed when
say-
he came in?
yeah, I would say, because it's there's the corridor itself is dark, and now there's kind of this pale light that shines through the holes in the roof, so that kind of draws your notice, at least. It kind of illuminates the corridor.
I look at Rosalyn and I say, "You don't think they?" I point at the door.
They totally did. It's 100%.
Can I?
I'm just gonna look at them judgmentally. I'm like,
No, yeah, I wouldn't say you guys overheard them saying that, because they're at the sort of the opposite end of the chapel from you. But eventually you guys all arrive, and Arina's still sort of kneeling down beside the altar, so what would you like to do?
Go
Well,
for it.
Irina, we've prepared the grave. If you would like to
Yes, let's
receive that.
let's do this. I'm ready to say goodbye. And she kind of gestures for all of you to, or some of you to carry the coffin, if you don't mind, please.
Sure.
I will
No
take
problem.
aside.
Okay. So I assume you guys all pick up the coffin and you
Yeah.
begin to escort it out into the cemetery. And as you do, you kind of pass through. And those of you who haven't been here yet, so the cemetery, it looks very much in poor repair. Everything's kind of falling apart. Standard Barovia, really. Until you place the coffin down into the
Grave.
into the grave. Yes, I couldn't think of the word there. Into the grave, and you all kind of solemnly gather around, and Donovich takes his place at sort of the head of the grave and says, "Dearly beloved." Oh, wait, that's the wrong one. Sorry, Ismark. He kind of pats him on the shoulder, and he turns to, let's say, Rosalyn, who's standing next to him. So we joke, lighten the mood.
I look to Godfrey. I'm like, I kind of like this guy.
Well, he's got a certain panache about him.
But I don't have an exact dialogue for what Donovich says, but essentially he speaks through these rites regarding the Morning Lord, about the passing of one life into the next, and he kind of recounts a simple life lived overseeing Barovia to the best of the Burgermeister's ability until sadly he passed. And as his kind of sermon draws to a close, he kind of turns towards Ismark and Irina and he says, "Any final thoughts you wish to leave him with?" And at this point, Irina's kind of tearing up and she kind of wipes away her watery eyes. She just kind of shakes her head, and Ismark just kind of puts his arm around her and pulls her a little bit closer, and until he says, "Well, let's get the dirt on him and we'll head back inside." So he kind of gestures to some of you to pick up the shovels.
I'll pick up a shovel.
Sure.
I will shovel.
All right. So yes, some of you begin to gradually pile the dirt on top of the body and begin to cover it, but suddenly the quiet of this moment is broken by the sounds of wheels running over cobbled streets and the jingling of harness and the sounds of metal hooves striking out across the cobbles. And you can see pulling around the walls of the cemetery is a large black carriage, and a hooded figure is guiding a team of horses along it as it slowly curves around the cemetery. And looking at Irina and Donovich and Ismark, you can see their faces suddenly turn incredibly pale, and Donovich starts to back away from the grave. And as this carriage gradually pulls around to the front entrance of the cemetery, you can see that blazoned on the side panel of the carriage is a large red crest. The image is that of an eagle, its wings spread across a backdrop of swirling patterns and scrolls, as well as the familiar image of a castle, the same one you recognize as the one overlooking the town. And the figure guiding the carriage, scurries down from the side and quickly moves to the side and swiftly opens the door with a astute bow. And from the dark recesses of the carriage steps forth a tall, pale figure with long, raven-colored hair. He wears a blood-red waistcoat, a well-tailored pair of black trousers, and knee-high, polished brown boots. And draped across his shoulders is a shimmering black cloak with animal fur lining the edges, and you can see the inside is lined in a deep red cloth. His face is sharply angled, and his eyes pass over each of you hungrily as he steps forth. And as his eyes meet each of yours, you almost feel like your souls are being laid bare to him, that every secret you might hold dear is suddenly exposed. And he looks at all of you with a grin and says, "Greetings to all of you. I am Count von Strahd, Lord of Castle Ravenloft and ruler of these lands. Welcome to Barovia." And he kind of opens his arms out wide, and that's where we'll end tonight's session. Ooh.
I want to punch him
I'm Godfrey.
already.
Ooh.
Ooh.
That's when I look at Garby. Shut the door!
Let it out! Let it out!
So yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed that for tonight's first session. I thought it was pretty good.
Very good.
Back, boys, we're back.
We're back.
Yeah. Well, I guess there's not much more to say. I hope everyone enjoyed watching. And I don't think we're live next week, are we, Connor?
No, because I'm in Boston for the Mythic Invitational. So.
And so is Alias as well.
So is Alias.
Yeah.
Connor is competing in Alias's casting. So I think most of us will probably be watching that anyway. So yeah. Well, I know I will be.
I'm going to be watching for Alias.
Aw.
Yeah, so...
if you're on coverage, I will watch that too.
Thanks,
And Justin
Justin.
is no longer part of the cast.
Justin, I'll watch when you're on coverage. Oh.
Oh.
way.
Low blow.
Oh.
I will be casting with you, sir. No need to be mean.
Okay. So there won't be any D&D content next week. No yawning portal. No episode uploaded onto YouTube or anything like that. So yeah, we'll see you all again in 2 weeks. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the first session in Barovia, and we'll see how things play out next week. But other than that, cheerio.
Bye.
Cheerio.